Conservation Commission meeting, January 14, 2015. Welcome to our meeting. Please join us in a pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anyone have any changes to the agenda? I'd accept a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's skip meeting minutes. Any announcements, Brian?
No, let's just get into it.
Okay. Any accounts payable?
You got a mileage thing over there. They switched the mileage reimbursement, so I figure I should probably get that off the to-do. Just starting one.
Okay, this is Brian's mileage report for, looks like about 12 days worth of driving. Comes out to 118.5 miles, 56 cents per mile, $66.36. Any discussion on that?
$66 and what?
$66.36. I would accept a motion to pay this amount of money, $66.36 to Brian, although quite honestly I have no idea where it comes from.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Actually, we'll just do that.
We don't have to sign it.
Well, first off, I don't even know where it's coming from. Can you get an answer from
How do you mean? Like what pile of money?
what pile?
There's only one pile.
Okay, so it does come straight out of our budget?
Yeah, it comes out of the same pot that the salary does, and
Lisa said that?
yeah.
Okay, as long as Lisa said it, then
Lisa
that's fine.
said there's no distinctions in the Concom money.
Okay,
Everything is just one big slush fund.
perfect. Why don't we all sign it then? You can certainly start. All right, 7:15, request for certificate of compliance for 40 Highland Street.
And you ought to have that, I think, Bill. It's a little, you got it there?
I hope so. It just doesn't say Highland Street on it anywhere. Here it is, off Highland Street. So this is Ann Callahan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the story there is simply that
I actually know the property pretty well.
a piece of that parcel was from a project that had an order of conditions on it, and so the land just sort of accidentally inherited an order of conditions, and it's a different owner, and it's not part of the project that was conditioned, and it's just a piece of legalese attached to that parcel that is just getting cleared up,
Nope.
20 years later.
Absolutely. I know all about it. Okay. This is the parcel that's behind Christine's house and off to the left. Ann Callahan, who was the town clerk for years and years and years. This was a chunk of property that was between her property and the parcel that got laid out for Janet's house. Pravadakis. Actually, the one beside Keith Shaw's house. So Keith is here, and this is the amount of land that was required because of zoning. Each property had to be over 2 acres. So it was this little triangle here that Carpenter must have sold to the Callahans. It is far, far and away outside of the area where any wetland is present.
Yeah.
But the wetlands start down here, and so that's why the whole parcel is encumbered.
Right. And with the conditions that were on that project, none of them apply to what's going on over there anyway.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
In fact, all the conditions on that project apply to my house and Julia's house. Okay, my old house. I would accept a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 15 Highland Street or off Highland Street at Winthrop Ave for this parcel under DEP file number 100-112, but I guess actually technically it's a partial
Right.
certificate of compliance.
So moved. Second.
Any further discussion?
Just clarification, is it 40 Highland or 15 Highland?
Well, the agenda says 15.
40.
40.
Where did I see 15? That says 40. All right. Oh, 15 Acorn Path. My bad. 40 it is. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, while we're signing that, next is a request for a certificate of compliance, Hunt Real Estate, Fitchburg Road.
That's the big one.
Pass that one, sir.
And there ought to be a letter in the middle of your map, of your plan.
Like this.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Ah. So the new Family Dollar store. I don't remember, was there any, I don't think we had any grass or anything with the project, did we?
So there's grass in the back, or is to remain vegetated in the back corner? I think where it says wooded.
Yeah,
Looks like they kept the tree.
right. Did you pass through here at all?
No, the way the letter was written, they only addressed the stormwater. And so I've got no obligations to, look into that.
Were you able to compare the as-built to the plan that was submitted and approved with the NOI?
I looked, but, if there's something missing, I missed it.
So,
Todd, as you basically, I only gave it a passing glance because the big thing here was the stormwater conveyance system. And this is the only thing I addressed here, and I have no business addressing that. And so this seems like the,
what do you mean you have no business addressing that?
I'm not an engineer. I couldn't really evaluate it.
Sure, but in this case, what we would want to do is to validate that the construction was performed properly on the two ends. So if you were facing the plan, the left or north side of the property had a new block retaining wall that was put in to act as a head wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the right side, I think we were staying with what was there. I can't remember. I don't remember if they had to rebuild the right side or not.
I don't think they did,
I think the right side stayed, but it does say block retaining wall here. I can't tell. No, you know what? This was longer. Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on this property for 19 Fitchburg Road?
Aye.
Brian, do you have the file for that?
No, actually. That's
Okay.
one thing I didn't bring downstairs.
So, I tell you what, so my plan would be, we need to go visit this, and of course, there's only a little bit of snow on it, but it may impede our ability to figure it out. I agree. I can't remember if there was a grassed area that we would want to see. All their construction this year, all their finished grade construction took place after frost started.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're required to have any grass, there's no evidence that it's completed, so we wouldn't be able to sign off anyway. So, but I can't remember that. What I do know is that I would want to see the block walls and the retention and make sure that that work had been done in the way that we had discussed when we were on site. So, the best thing to do is to table this until we can have another meeting. Thank you. After a site visit. Right. New head walls are to be constructed. Erosion control discussed at length. 2 rows of hay bales. Storm scepter in the front. Is the storm scepter shown? Where's the storm scepter? Is it a numbered item? There's an 8 and a 10 on here.
This says sewer manhole, parentheses tank, next to the church road.
Yeah, but is that theirs?
Okay.
Because it's got the green line going to it. I don't know what that means. Okay, so right out of our meeting notes from January 22nd, 2015, as requested at the site walks, O&M plan, operations and maintenance plan for the planned storm scepter has now been received. But there doesn't appear to be a storm scepter on the plan unless I'm completely missing it. So,
And looking at the meeting, just a couple meetings before that, because of some neighbors' concerns with, at the back of the property draining onto theirs, there was discussion of a ridge line being created as a drainage divide.
yeah, I think it was in the, by ridgeline, I think it was in the grading, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I'm going to pass you that one and this one. Henry, okay. So I assume this was sent to you by Hagel LLC? Wait,
No, that's the wrong one.
I'm in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was a letter from Philip Henry to Mr. Doug Murray of Hunt Real Estate Services. Is that who sent you the package?
Yeah, he came in and dropped it off.
Okay. Do you have there's an address on here. Do you have a telephone number or an email address?
Probably.
Okay.
This one definitely got backburnered, relatively speaking, with all the other things.
No, that's fine. Tell him, well, it's fine because we need to do a site walk in order to validate the conditions. So if you could please let him know that we'll schedule a site walk. In fact, I will go by there this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. But I may not be able to see everything, and if I can't, then it will have to wait until we can.
Fair enough.
Could you please look in the file tomorrow, verify if this project required, what we're recalling is that the back of the project was supposed to have a change in grade to prevent water from running into the neighbors. Check the plans and see if that was on the original application. If it was, then it waits till spring, because we need to see that area in its entirety.
That'll be Monday.
Perfect.
Tuesday. Point.
Well, I guess you could come
Hey,
in.
Bill, can you just repeat
I'm not, though.
what you wanted to mention?
I want him to validate that the plan that we were dealing with showed that we would berm the back of the property, because obviously if there's an area where we've looked for something specific as far as the grade change, then we need to see that before we could sign off.
Right, so then what, Tuesday I'll send you a text, give you a quickie update.
That would be swell. Okay. So we issued 40 Highland Street, hold for visit on 19 Fitchburg Road. Public hearing for enforcement order on DEP file number 100-0386.
Good evening.
How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Spiffy. So, and I'm sorry, it was Robert, right?
Yes.
Good evening, Robert.
David E. Ross.
David E. Ross Associates, Robert Oliver, here on behalf of Hagel LLC. We're here because the applicant was issued a cease and desist for actions on the property that had not been approved under the order of conditions that were granted for the project. There were several trees at the shoreline that were removed that were not to be removed.
Right.
At the owner's admission, he was approached by his tree contractor, who stated to him that the trees that were to remain didn't look that healthy and urged him to take them down. Unwittingly and unfortunately, he agreed to let him do that. So he is truly sorry that he's done that, and he didn't realize he wasn't supposed to. Having said that, I guess I'm here tonight to apologize on his behalf and also to work with you on how we're going to take care of this and how we fix the problem. I have talked to Brian. We talked about plantings in place of the trees that were there. I didn't bring you anything tonight because I thought it was probably more appropriate to speak to you first and get your input on what would be acceptable in this case. I guess my thoughts were, where the trees were removed that weren't supposed to be removed, we leave the stumps. We still don't want to get into that bank and destabilize the bank at all. So as far as planting trees, we'd probably pull back a little bit from the edge of the pond with some new trees to replace the old. So I guess what I'm looking from the commission is to see what would be suitable, or what you would maybe recommend, or what your thoughts are.
I think we're heading in the right direction. What was the amount of space between the bank and the back of the house? I just don't remember off the top of my head.
The old house?
Today's house.
Today's-
The house that's planned.
From what we showed as the top of the bank, we had 27 feet. And that was, again, to the box that you approved. So it could end up a little further away than that. And that's at its closest point in this corner. It tends to open up then as you move into the lot.
Okay. So my personal feeling on that would be that I also don't want to put the homeowner in the position of later having a tree that gets so big and grows over the back of the house and becomes a problem, because 27 feet isn't enough space for a big tree to grow anyway. So my feeling would be planting in the front of the house to replicate. Anybody have any other thoughts on that?
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So how many trees were removed and what were the species?
I think I counted 6 stumps. There were 2 that were proposed to be removed that were approved. They were mostly, except with the exception of the pine tree that was approved to be removed, I think they were all maples. That's what we had them described as on our plan. He's open to suggestion in terms of what you'd like to see in terms of trees.
If you want to look at the map.
Yeah, there was a cluster in the corner of the property on the western corner here where they all came down. There was a 6-inch triple birch that, for whatever reason, they left.
Because it'll come down on its own.
It looks like it could.
Pretty much all maples. Do you want to see? To your point, just the string, it's a triple birch, and then it was all maples around the side.
Right. So I believe there were 4 maples that should not have come down.
Make one point, the only reason I'm leery of, or concerned about suggesting planting trees in the front of the house was that this property used to have a lot of trees in the front of the house, and the homeowner took those down a few years ago, to the displeasure of his former tenant. But, I'd like to see a guarantee that the homeowner actually would put in new trees and let them stay. I'm not sure, I'm not convinced based on that he would actually do that.
If we're talking planting in front of the house towards the street side, is that what I'm hearing?
I think that's preferable. I guess the problem is there's just not enough room on the land.
It's a very small lot, yeah. He communicated to me that he plans on living here, so while he understands he needs to do something to mitigate what he's done, he also, again, wants it to be attractive. So if he does plant, if there's a mix behind or in front of the house, I'm certain, and just to address your concern, I can't say I'm certain. I would imagine if he's investing in new trees to replace what he's done, I don't think he's going to cut them down in the near future. I think that would not help his cause at this point. So, he's happy to plant. He's happy to do it in a tasteful manner, however you see fit.
Do you have any thoughts?
I see maybe one large tree and then a couple smaller ones, like an oak or a hickory or something.
And large, just for clarification, diameter size, what were you thinking?
I'm just thinking something that's going to grow large.
Okay.
I think I'd probably be looking for something that was a 2 or 3 caliper, something that's, 10, 14 feet tall, that when it goes in, it actually starts out, and then others that were smaller that could come up to size. This is why it's always disappointing when trees get cut down. There's no good way to fix it.
Right. No, I understand, and he truly is sorry. I know he's not a developer. He's actually quite upset that it's happened this way. So, that's why I want to come in and discuss solutions.
Just a question, because I missed the sidewalk for this property. Where the trees are, and I guess it might be shown on the plan, a couple lines, but what is so they're sort of the top of the bank, or what?
There's, on this plan, when we did our survey, the water level was down.
Okay.
So we had an edge of pond. The actual edge, and more likely when the water's higher, there's a bank, and quite defined.
Mhm.
And a couple of these trees are not directly on the bank, sitting directly behind it,
Okay.
with a root system that's into the bank. A couple of them were literally, out of the bank, so they were part of the bank.
Okay.
That's why the thought was the pine tree that was to come down the maple. The pine tree was in tough shape. Typical pine, dead branches and all. The maple, as it turns out, when I looked at the stump today, had a large hole in the middle of it. So his suspicion that it was in bad shape was correct. The others came down unnecessarily. We didn't originally want them to come down, and that was how it was presented to the commission. So the thought is leave the stumps, and that was what we were proposing anyway, to not touch the bank. And it is, I was out there today, it's still, the water's down, there's a couple feet worth of bank at least there. As far as location, I mean, we can, if it's in the front and it suits you, it's all open for discussion.
How much of a drop off is there?
From just at the bank?
Yeah.
2-3 feet.
Yeah, the bank's not the back of the yard from where the house is to where the bank is relatively flat. The front will drop off pretty significantly, so it'll be very steep in the front. Why don't we do this? Can we all agree that at least, to George's point, one large tree and some smaller ones, and why don't you come back to us with a plan?
Sure.
What's his?
So for the ones that are, I guess my feeling is that there were trees that were sort of in the bank, on or in the bank, that were cut down, that those should be replaced with trees that are native species that are suitable for planting on the bank.
Okay.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
They don't necessarily have to be huge trees.
Well, I think we'd want to go away from huge, actually.
Yeah, which is fine, but I think,
Are you thinking?
since, because that's basically alteration of vegetation in a resource area, so that should be mitigated in time.
You think of willow stakes kind of thing?
Something like that, yeah. I would give the applicant discretion to choose species that he's going to want to keep, but they should be definitely native and suitable for planting based on the
appropriate things,
Yeah.
like riparian.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we expecting that I'm assuming that your client is not planning on starting any work, excavating anytime soon?
He had hoped to previously. I think now maybe the plan's changed. I don't know, honestly. I mentioned it to him today and I didn't really get an answer, so.
I'm just assuming it's in his best interest to wait till spring anyway, but.
For the foundation, I would think so. And if it comes to the point that, his contractor wants to do the foundation, hopefully this won't hold it up in terms of we're here and we're hoping to come to a resolution. So that's your discretion if we get to that point.
Well, so we meet again on the 28th. You certainly don't have to appear, but if you'd like to send in a plan with some thoughts on it. If he is in a rush, then you can certainly show up that night and we can, take care of it that night. If he's not in a rush, send it in. We'll discuss it. If we have questions, we'll email back and take care of it that way.
That's great. I appreciate it. Takashi, just any other, I know I talked to Brian previously about willow stakes. Any other recommendations for
Yeah.
bank?
I'll send you, if Brian, if you remind me via an email, I will.
Put it in your smartphone. Oh.
That was low.
I will, in town of Groton, we have like a wetland buffer zone native planting type thing that's broken down into categories that would identify the ones that would be suitable for this type of.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
So I can.
Soon to be stolen by the town of Ayer. It'll say town of Ayer when it goes to you.
So I'll send it to Brian.
Change the header, make it official.
Put the
new
library
policy.
on it and it's over. Okay. Because I have no question about what happened, I think we'll go forward as far as enforcement orders go, because the trees really did come down and the work really needs to be done to replicate. So please let your client know that any other work that he'd like to do, as long as it was covered under the original order of conditions, we're excited about it, and if it's not, then please come see us first.
Understood.
Anyone have anything else? I'd entertain a motion to ratify the enforcement order for 100-0386.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Okay. Public meeting, RDA for MBTA and commuter rail antenna and other equipment installation.
That's the one from last meeting where you had that package you took home with you. It's a big one with all the color photos.
We have a
brought his
copy.
little back.
Oh, thank goodness. I thought you meant like I took it home with me. Oh, no. Oh, this one.
Yeah, you do have that at home.
This one, what does that mean?
No. I do have it at home. What I was afraid of was that I took the only one.
Oh.
Oh, good lord, no.
We brought an extra.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson with that folder the first night.
See?
Never given
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
copy, right?
It's not a good idea.
So Bill, you can have my copy if you promise to ask for names and.
So I'm
Good
Holly
evening.
Congren, MBTA,
Hi, Holly.
and this is Jess from
Hi,
Rainmaker.
Jess.
Hi.
Didn't we meet you
Jess-
before at some point?
Jessica Meese.
Not Jessica. You've met me because I was here for the
And
Pittsburgh
I-
improvement work
Right,
when we
right.
did the signal work over
That's
there.
right. That's right.
So yes, it was a long time ago, actually.
And you're from?
The MBTA.
Yeah. You're from?
Rainmaker.
Rainmaker,
Associates.
our consultant for this work. So this is a small part of a bigger project that she is undertaking to put in I can't speak tonight. Positive train control. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but along our entire system, the Fitchburg line is the first line to get it. That basically would allow a dispatcher to stop a train remotely. So it's used in other parts of the country and the world, and it's supposed to help any accidents, things like that, derailments. So it's the way to go for controlling the trains. So as part of that, we need to put poles along the entire alignment. There's no wires between the poles; they're wireless. And basically that's how we speak to the trains. There's more than, we filed with you for 2 poles because those are the 2 poles that were within 100 foot of a wetland resource. There are other poles going up in air along the alignment. It's about every mile to mile and a half between poles. That's an estimate. I'm not the engineer, but that's what they tell me. That's what they tell me.
Don't look at either of us.
I don't want to pretend to be one.
Says a mile and
Even
a
on
half.
TV. So there's kind of 2 separate packages with the 2 locations. One of the poles is within about 80 feet of the wetland resource. The other one is 50. All of the work, I want to preface this, is within the existing disturbed right-of-way. So it's within our existing ballast. So there's no clearing, cutting, or any of that. All the work is done within the existing right-of-way. Any material removed for the poles to be put in is basically landscaped back into the right-of-way itself, the ballast, which is the rock, I guess, for those that don't know the term ballast. So they are pretty tall poles that they don't have a foundation. They're actually, they drill
Drilled in.
down and they're just placed in the hole, backfilled, and graded. They have equipment on them, radio equipment on them, which is
Yeah, they're depicted on the plan. There's a cross section of the tower.
of what a typical pole would look like.
And also, if there's any excess soil from the construction, it's going to be hauled off site. It's going to be hauled off site to. I don't think they have a yard yet that they've decided, but there'll be no
they
excess
can't,
soil.
because there might be
left on
more soil that they can't, either put back in the hole or, grade it enough to keep it
To res-
flat.
yeah.
So that's kind of the backup plan. The idea is to try to use as much as we can on site. So there's 2 locations. One of them is listed as Ayer Central, which is around 143 Central Ave, and the other one is referred to as Ayer West, and that's around 13 Scully Road. There's a
70.
plethora of colored maps,
Yeah.
which are both GPS as well as aerial showing the locations.
All right, so it's, if I can, I
Yes.
just want to ask some specific questions first.
Yep.
Hopefully easy ones. So the first picture I'm looking at, I turned to elevation C 2.1 in the plan, and it's the one for 13 Scully Road,
Yep.
which, interesting, everything about 13 Scully Road shows Shirley Street on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll figure that part out next.
Okay.
So the first part is that this is a 65-foot pole.
Yep.
This does appear, so what is the depth that you're setting this pole in?
They will be up to a maximum of 19 feet.
19 feet. So that's a lot of soil that comes back out of the hole.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to have to figure out where you're going to send it.
Right. It will be
Yes.
taken
So-
off-site.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's fine.
Mhm.
And then my experience with this is that, so is this totally wireless? I see there's a solar array that's planted near the pole.
Those have been, from my understanding, scratched from the plans if they appear to be a problem to the design. It's if it ends up being a problem for you guys to have a solar
Second
panel,
solar
yeah,
panel.
and then we're
Because
just
it would need to be
dismissing
installed
it.
in a separate pole. It's put in there as an optional because in some locations, we've been told we don't want a second pole because it's so close to the wetland. So they're obviously not as big as the poles,
Right.
the monopoles. So they're an option that we can put in.
Okay.
And yes, they are wireless. There are a variety of antennas at different elevations.
Sure.
They serve both the PTC as well as communications functions.
So, okay, well, that's wonderful, but, so I'm looking at the 13 Scully Road.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not finding the, I'm on this plan, this area over here that's identified as grass, and then this area, where exactly is the resource?
If you go to the last page in the packet, there is a wetland map. It should be toward the end of the
Color
packet.
picture.
It's from the Mass GIS program. You can pass this around also, if that helps.
All right, there are an awful lot of pictures.
Just to make sure you can see it. Well, sometimes it's hard to get out there, so you can orient yourself with where you are a little bit with the photos.
Okay, so if I'm reading this correctly, this is 71 Shirley Street,
Correct.
Yeah.
or Scully Road, as we've labeled it on the other
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
Just, no, you shook us up, you got it. It says property, and then there's an arrow that goes all the way over here to beside the tracks.
Yep. And so if you take this,
Yep.
which is in the same orientation, see this bubble section here? That's
Yes.
that treed area. See, you know what's interesting? The map says Scully Road, but our filing says Shirley. So that was just
This must be a
apparently a
typo.
typo. So it says it's 80 feet from the edge of that wetland across the track to where the pole is going to be.
That's where
But
we
again, it is
determined to be.
across the tracks.
Right. So in this case, you're on the right side of the tracks.
Yes.
On this one.
Not the wrong side on that one.
And it should be solid.
Okay.
It
So-
should be Shirley Road.
It should be Shirley.
Yeah,
71
so the filing
Shirley.
itself says Shirley Road, but the plan
Says
says
Scully Road.
Yeah.
Is there even a Scully Road in?
There is actually down that way.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing that I was looking for is, just so that, for everybody's information, there's also a conduit run on here, unless you're planning to do this overhead, and I couldn't tell from the plan. There's a pole on the same side of the road,
Those are existing, yeah?
right? Well, there's a power pole on the same side of the road, and then on here, it just says power on this C1.1,
Yep.
and it goes from the pole over to an existing utility pole, but I didn't see a place on your new monopole to attach a power service, so is that buried?
So there's here, it doesn't show in the monopole, so if you look on the C11, you see the circle where the pole is, and then you see a little pad over there, it's like
Yep.
a little square. So that's a equipment slab, and that's where the power gets connected in.
Okay, so is that a conduit run?
To that pad, yes.
So just so we're clear, that would be part of the application as well. If the pole's within 80 feet, then I'm guessing that the power run is as well. So
Correct.
if you're excavating for that, we just need to make sure that all the material for both of those projects would,
If it's not able to
Would
be
be removed
reused
from
on
the
site,
site.
gets removed, correct, yes. And on this particular site, because the wetland is on the opposite side of the tracks, we didn't propose any erosion controls. If you think they're necessary, let me know, but, if the wetland had been on the same side as the pole, we would have shown that, but since it's on the opposite side of the track, it'd have to go up and over the tracks to get over to the wetland. So again, if you have a concern with that, we can put stuff up on the other side.
What's under the top layer of ballast? More ballast or different kinds of
Sub-ballast.
ballast? Or
So there is.
they last 100 years of ballast.
Yes, so there's sub-ballast, then the ballast that you see, then so the sub-ballast is underneath. Eventually you'll get to, soil eventually, but you gotta
Eventually.
go through a lot of ballast.
Yeah.
And, as he was saying, the right-of-way's been here for a long time, so I'm sure there's quite a lot of ballast underneath there.
How much ballast are you guys going to be drilling through? I mean, theoretically, most of that hole, you're going to be pulling up old ballast?
Yeah. And that's why the idea is that ballast can then be spread back out along the right-of-way and reused. It's if we get soil back up, that's a bad combination. You don't want to put soil in the ballast because then it plugs it up and it doesn't serve its function. So when they're drilling, the ballast that comes up gets either put back in the hole if it can fit, or redistributed along the right-of-way. I mean, they come by at a fairly regular frequency and fix up the ballast, make it even. If soil comes up, that will have to get removed off-site.
So then theoretically, you're not going to be putting down any soil on the ballast. You're going to.
Correct.
So then theoretically, there shouldn't be any sedimentation of any sort, because theoretically you're taking everything but the rocks and carting them off.
Yes.
Right.
That is the ideal situation.
Especially because anything that's under there probably shouldn't see the light of day after.
And hasn't seen the light of day in a very long time. So yes, that's the idea.
And
Okay,
then
so-
is the land under the ballast cupped or generally level? I mean, with all that weight of the ballast, does the land sink? So like theoretically, across the railroad tracks, you have a rainstorm, it washes, and the land slopes toward the wetland, and everything just funnels, let's just say. Is there a cup for the not should see the light of day kind of soil way under? Will it just fall back theoretically to the bottom of the ballast that's already there?
If it was on the
Yeah, is
ballast,
it-
yeah,
is it
it would.
cupped under
So
the
the
road track
ballast is
generally?
designed to drain the water away because you don't want to run the train in the wet condition. Usually a bad idea. So in some of these locations, and I am actually not sure in this, it looks like there's no ditch, so it's probably a subdrain in this location. The ballast is designed, rains, percolates through the ballast, and then gets into the subdrain and gets carried off where it gets discharged somewhere to an existing discharge. So if you had material that was in the ballast and it could get through the layer, it would end up into that that subdrain. The idea is not to have the soil there because it plugs up the ballast and then it doesn't serve its function.
But any soil that would move, there's something in the way before it would cross the tracks and come out the other side.
Correct. It would get stuck in the ballast as it's going down. Yes.
As far as the being on the right side of the tracks or the opposite side of the tracks, I'm not, from our walks on the railroad in the past, I'm not worried about anything getting from that side over what can sometimes be a 4 or 5 foot elevation difference with the tracks and the
nothing
material.
about the
The
buffer
other one, yeah.
Well, I don't expect that anything under.
up through and under. Right.
No, the decades of diesel spills will have
Yes.
allowed most of that to cake up.
Right, and then any
So we got
diesel
50 feet.
clumps that move are gonna end up in the subdrain.
My bet is I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
Most likely.
so number 1, so we started with Scully / Shirley.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
How far is that from the brook?
From I don't.
It's hard to make out the scale.
Brook on the. It's 80 feet.
80 feet is what we determined.
So on the cover letter, we have them
Not from the, 80 feet is from the wetland, correct?
from the
Right.
wetland.
There's a perennial stream, Nonacoccus Brook, that's in the vicinity, but it's hard to make out the scale on the plans.
Oh.
You know, if it's within the 200-foot roof area.
So we
Looking at the
have.
different one?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on.
So the
Oh,
first
I
reason I
guess
said
it's
that
all
one is
Is
that
that
I
it?
knew this was going to happen. I've got these mixed together.
Oh, yeah, the brook's on the other side.
The brook is on the other side.
Well, it runs under
Under.
the track, so it's on the same side too, and it flows to the north.
Right, it crosses the track up. And that
Right,
way.
that's not the wetland they're addressing.
We measured
Right.
to the closest
we go.
resource.
They
I
measured to the closest resource, so
Mhm.
because I did have them look at the 200 foot. So here. So 80 feet. So 80 feet. Just from looking at this saying 80 feet, it's going to be 80 feet from that stream because to
Right,
cross
right.
those to cross those tracks is, I mean, there's 4 tracks there.
Tex, is it on the same side as the stream or the opposite side of the stream?
Well, the stream,
The stream crosses the right of way.
Right.
yeah, so.
Further down
to the
here.
east.
Right.
Stream.
Sure.
So if we, actually, we can scale it off. There's a scale.
Oh,
on
I see
here.
what you mean. I see what you mean.
I'll do the very technical scaling.
No, I agree with you. Well,
So
if that
we-
road is 40 feet wide,
So 50, 100,
I mean, it doesn't really change anything. It would
150.
just be good to know
It's
if it
actually,
is or
on this
isn't.
scale, is about 200 feet from the stream on the side where the pole's going. Does that make sense?
how about that?
And then it's, the 80 feet is to the stream on the opposite side of the tracks.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So why don't we take one step back? This is an RDA.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we did it as an RDA because all the work is confined to the existing disturbed right-of-way. There's no direct impacts to the wetlands. You know, we don't expect the generation of a lot of material or risk for discharge to the wetlands. And we can talk about the next one, which is a little closer to the
Yes.
stream. But if we want to stay on one at a time, I'll hold that.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the RDA, just if it is within the roof furniture,
Yep.
it should be noted that it is within the roof furniture.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say it scales out to probably be just at 200.
Yeah, Dr. Sheet, would this be the boundary, would that be your 200 foot?
What's that?
Am I right? Yeah, surely, because if they're working over here, and this is the 80 foot to that, and they're on this side, that's probably the wetland boundary that you're asking about.
No,
No?
so this is the stream.
Right. So,
Oh,
right.
So-
So we're within
down.
80 feet of
And
the
we're
stream
that-
on that side. That's the
arrow.
resource that's
Within 200
closest
feet.
on that side.
That's not a
Yeah, it's like a
so-
tiny little,
Little
and it crosses
drainage.
the right of way about
That's
200
a
feet.
All right, so if that's 80 feet from there to there,
Yes.
Yeah.
then then the same side is certainly close to 200, plus or minus. Okay.
If you could just.
Sure.
You could send a letter.
more, Yeah.
To clarify that
Yeah,
it's
to
not
clarify
just
the
80
dimensions.
feet from the wetland resource, it's within the
It either is or isn't
riverfront.
within the roof.
Well, it
I mean,
is because if we're 80 feet from it on this side, then we're within the 200 feet because it's the same overlapping resource.
Okay.
I really thought that was the property line.
Oh, that little line? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where the 80 feet came from.
Okay, so let's take one step back. We're referencing the Shirley Street pole project. The installation of the pole, the conduit to the pole. Is there any service or access to this that's required in the future?
To construct these, we're using the existing railroad right away
Yeah,
to
Okay.
construct
everything's being
these.
done from the railroad right of way.
And future
And future
access the
access
same?
would be from the railroad right of way.
Okay, so we're talking about a limited area of work. I don't have any problem if you want to do any kind of containment, but I don't know that
No,
it's
I
going to have an
don't
effect.
think that's necessary. I just want the application to,
Reference that it's
Reflect
riverfront,
that it-
which is fine, I can follow up with a
yeah,
letter.
it's in the riverfront or it's not. It's gonna
Clarifying
depend on
letter.
how far it is from the road.
Okay, I'm going to ask one non-jurisdictional question. Have you gone to zoning? Does this apply at
No.
65 feet?
MBTA is not subject to local zoning bylaws.
That's in the beginning of it.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any other feedback on Shirley Road pole and conduit installation?
I'm trying to keep them.
Okay,
This is centrally. This is,
You just gave us.
so are these both part of the same app, correct? It's one
yeah, we put
application?
them together.
No, I just want to make sure, because otherwise we vote on one at a time.
Okay, yeah, we put them in, I mean, they're packaged separately for their purposes, because that's how they get them
How we-
approved through
yeah.
FCC.
Sure.
But I told them to put it in one application, because it's all within your town, and it's the same general work. Kind of save a little bit of paper for you. So,
How many of these, what's the length of the system? How many of these poles?
I don't know the total
This
number.
one was like, which one was this one?
Like I said, it's every one
Since
and,
Fitchburg, I think there was 20 or 25, I think, on this one that
Okay.
we did.
oh, that
That
we
we did.
filed, but that doesn't count all the other ones, because there are other poles in
Right.
there, obviously.
Sure.
I don't know, I'd have to measure the distance, but take how far I run through air
Yeah.
and divide by 1 to 1.5 miles.
Okay.
There's-
So that's Shirley, and by the way, Scully's on the other side of the tracks.
Oh, maybe that's why they referenced Scully, although
Okay.
they also referenced Shirley, so.
So let's reference, let's take a look at the Central Ave.
Yeah,
So this one appears to be off Sandy Pond Road on the way to Central Ave.
Yes, and this one, again, I'll clarify in the letter, the resource area that we're near is riverfront. It's a stream that goes under the tracks again. We're within 50 feet here of that stream, and we're on the same side of the right-of-way as the stream, unlike the other one. So on this one, on C11, we have proposed some erosion controls to basically isolate where we're putting in the pole in the equipment slab to keep anything, I mean, again, we're hoping there's no soil to worry about anyways, but just while they're doing the work, it isolates the work area and prevents any discharges to the resource area. Same basic pole installation.
No,
They
I'm
all-
just looking for the, where are the erosion controls? Am I missing
See,
it?
is it not on yours?
C11.
Mine's in color.
I have another copy. Sure.
No, that isn't on mine.
No?
Uh-oh.
No, I even have two C11s.
Yeah, we don't have those.
Well, now you do. You can keep them. So, and if you look on this, which is the wetlands resource, because I don't know that it shows up clearly on that plan. Again, there's a stream that comes through here and goes under the right-of-way. Actually, it doesn't look like it surfaces on the other side. It must
Yeah.
go underground and stay there. And the pole is 50 feet from the edge of that stream.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with what we talked about on Shirley and Scully. This one is inadequate. We have a resource within 50 feet of the work you're doing without any kind of buffer between it and your work. It's not shown on the plan. The silt fence that you've got here, the erosion controls, makes sense for the pole, but not for the conduit you're gonna have to put into the power. So there's not enough definition on this plan for what your total scope of work is gonna be. So your silt fence that you've got in red here should actually be oriented totally differently. It should be oriented to contain the work around where you're gonna have to excavate for your power conduit. This shows that, says this is the existing pole right here.
Their power conduit isn't detailed in these drawings.
Okay.
How do you guys plan
I know a
on
little bit about this,
solar for this
and
one?
nothing's wireless.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's why I think we have the option of the solar panels. is
Right.
So that we don't have to run.
Except that it won't, you're not gonna get 100% coverage that way.
Sure.
Right.
I've been doing these for 20 years, doesn't work that way.
I haven't been doing that. I don't, the T's are usually not in the business of putting poles in. At least not these kind of poles.
The long and the short of it is that we would need to see.
Where that conduit's coming in.
We would,
Right.
and
Yep.
based on the fact, so as far as the first application goes, I don't have any problem treating this as an RDA based upon the work, the scope of work, the kind of thing that you're gonna be doing, et cetera.
Sure.
I don't have any problem with that. I'm tempted, based on the distance to a stream for this one, that this really needs to be an NOI. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No.
None?
You, sir?
So, your plans honestly are not very clear. And so if I'm looking at this and looking at it correctly, the blue line that shows up as a stream on one of your maps is not mapped as a perennial stream, so it may or may not be the same issue within the different areas, but again, it's hard to,
It flows out of this
it's hard to decipher
wetland
from
on the
the
corner,
plans that you provided, so I guess.
the corner of the map.
Do you have your,
Well, they have the
Yep.
zoom into the second quad, so, you know, there is the stream that flows sort of to the north of the rotary and into what eventually flows into Grove Pond, but that appears to be different from
Right,
the blue
so,
line that shows up on your aerial photos.
right, so the mapped wetlands layer shows the stream branching off and also going under the
Yeah,
right
so,
of
but,
way.
I mean, on the DEP layer, a linear feature that isn't necessarily a stream. It could be a
Sure.
stream, drainage ditch. that
Sure.
kind of thing. So, in this case, my guess, based on the USGS map, is that it's an intermittent stream.
Right, which
But,
is why it doesn't show.
Again, your plans don't make that very clear. So.
Okay.
okay. So why don't we do this? At a minimum, the plan that you provided for the work on Central Ave should
Yep.
show the resource area, especially where it's within 50 feet. So
Mhm.
please adjust the scale and provide a plan that shows the resource area. Also, show the scope of work enclosed inside of the hay bales and silt fence. You can do wattle if you wish, whatever's best.
Yep.
But if the scope of work includes traveling 54 feet to a power source, then
Yep.
how you get there. If you want to do it aerial, that's fine, but it just means you're going to sink another pole. So just make sure that's shown in the plans, whatever
Okay.
you're going to do. So while you're doing that, it would be fantastic if for the Shirley Road, on the plan that you provided us,
Yep.
do the same thing. Pull
Yep,
the scale
put the
back.
resource, yep.
Pull the scale back and put the resource area on the
Okay.
plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if that stream, which is absolutely a perennial stream, if it's within 200 feet, please note it on the plan or note the distance to the stream. So either make it appear if it's less than 200 feet, or just put a note that says
It's more than 200 feet.
212 feet, whatever it is. Fair enough.
Yes.
If, so why don't we do it this way? We'd be happy to see you again as an RDA if it turns out that the stream over here is an intermittent stream
Sure.
for Central.
Yep.
If
Okay.
it is not an intermittent stream,
You're gonna want an NOI for just that piece.
for just that
Would you be
piece.
okay?
For just that piece.
Okay.
I'm less worried about this one, but since we're gonna be cleaning up plans.
Right. We might as well.
The plan's not
yep.
effective at showing us why you're here.
Sure.
So that would be essential for us for our future
Yep.
information.
Okay. Can I request a continuance?
Of course. Absolutely. Well, you're in luck. You're in luck because it's a public meeting and not a hearing, so it's a piece of cake. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, piece of cake, no problem. All right, Jess, did you have anything else?
No, that sounds
George?
No.
Takashi? Bonnie? Brian?
So at the next meeting, we will figure out whether or not to continue under the current RDA.
Exactly, so we'll continue to, well, I'll put it this way. That's where it will get exciting and fresh. So at the next meeting, we'll figure out if we're dealing with the original RDA for one of the applications, or if both of the applications, or how we're going to go forward from there.
So we'll follow up with revised plans, which show the wetlands resources, identifies if there's any riverfront, shows if there's power conduits.
Shows the power conduit, there's going to be one. Just
Right.
just make sure
Somewhere.
that just make sure it's covered as far as how you're going to take
And
care of it.
if, right, and where the erosion controls would be to identify that. For Central. For
Correct.
Shirley, we'll update the maps to show the resource areas.
Right.
And
And
identify
either
if it is.
put it on or
riverfront
provide a
not.
dimension for the
Yep.
river.
Okay.
Stream.
So then depending on the results of the stream, you
Maybe
may
coming
have
in
to-
with an NOI.
and a new RDA?
Well,
You'd
I'm
be asking for one NOI and one RDA
So,
in 2
I
weeks
don't-
if the stream worked out that way?
I don't have the official RDA package in front of me. What exactly did it say on the application?
So we requested
Should be in.
whether the work
You would
depicted
think
on the
so.
plans is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act, and we identified 2 different locations, Air West and Air Central. My thought is that you could approve one of them and require, I mean, I don't know, we can clean up the paperwork if it's easier for me to fill out a new form and take Central off if we need to. I could probably do that.
Tosh, you have an opinion on just how to flow the paperwork out from here if the stream ends
If-
up?
Can we take one off?
I think so.
When you approve it. Okay.
I don't have a big problem with an alteration where we remove part of the application. I don't think that's a big deal.
Go.
As long as it's not confusing to others when later on somebody says, well, you had this application and you approved it, yes, but it was only for half.
Right.
So that would be the only thing I'd be concerned about.
Bingo.
It'd have to be clear on the form, the RDA approval form,
Right.
Right.
where you find negative, it would have to,
Right.
there's gotta be a place somewhere in there to put some, well, there's a place to put conditions, so
Yeah, so it'd be a partial negative only applicable to,
air, west,
West.
make sure I call it right.
and then there'd be a new NOI for air east.
If it's a real.
Yeah, I was wrong. I don't like
I
it.
would rather, and
A
So a
new
whole
form.
new RDA and a
Well,
whole
no,
new
well,
NOI.
so we've opened, I guess not a public hearing, but we've opened a public meeting. They can make modifications to their proposal.
Right.
until
So I
we
could
close
just
the
submit
public
a new
meeting.
form
So
for the
just-
RDA
yeah, so
and
if-
pull
If
out,
it turns out that is riverfront area,
and
by
we need an
Central
NOI,
Avenue,
yep,
come back with.
an NOI and a new RDA, yep.
For Shirley Road and a notice of intent for the other one.
So-
Or I'll be coming back with revised plans and it stays as is.
Right.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're not planning to do this
Thank
work
you,
tomorrow.
Takashi.
No.
Right. So actually what would more likely happen is that if you determine that it is riverfront, what would happen next week is we'd get a nice letter from you saying that you withdraw your application for the RDA
Yeah.
and you're coming back with a brand new RDA, which only shows one of the properties and an NOI, because of course then we've got notice and
Yep,
timeframes
yep,
and
for the hearings.
advertisement.
Yep.
So if that happens, that happens. If not, we'll see you on the 28th and we'd be
The
excited to
28th
run
is
through
right.
it and see the
Okay.
new plans. Please make sure to bring enough copies for everyone as long as,
Sure.
as well as for the file.
Then the only
So
thing
is this
to
the full
add,
commission?
Yes.
Okay, so
is
2,
that
4,
I
6, 7
realistically will
copies?
only be able to do the newspaper stuff if we need to do any more on Tuesday next week.
Okay.
If we need to do
If
the
we need
NOI
to
for the
do-
28th.
Right.
So
Or a new.
I just
RDA
want to play out the scenarios
Okay.
so we're
Sure.
clear.
Do we have enough time if they advertise next week? for
Not
the
if we
28th?
need the NOI,
No, I don't
because
think
I
so.
won't have enough time to probably get the NOI
Right, because
ready for the
paper only runs on
advertising.
Friday.
But we
Have
could,
to look at it in
I
November.
could get you the revised
Right, right,
RDA. I mean, we could take care of that.
You certainly
piece.
can. You certainly can. I was just trying to save you.
I know another visit.
Well, no, we'd love to see you, but I was trying to save you your incredibly expensive consultant having to come with you. So,
Oh.
sorry.
I'm not paying them, so it's okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, who is paying for this?
In motion.
Motion.
Yeah,
It's a joint project between the T and In Motion, so
yeah, for the Wi-Fi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a T project, but I'm not
Actually,
paying for him.
Every time they come in, your fare goes up a nickel.
Yeah.
no, this is, I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is AT&T or Verizon. One of them is actually doing this. I think it's AT&T.
Is that who, I don't know enough about InMotion. I don't know how that works.
It's all about who sells Wi-Fi.
Right.
Okay, so
All right.
do we feel comfortable? So
Yeah.
modifications, slight modifications to one,
Yep.
pretty
Maybe.
much significant modifications to the other, but really a fact-finding mission to determine if it's adequate or not.
Yep.
Fair enough?
Almost got
Okay.
you for the 28th.
For the 28th, we'll put you on our agenda for the 28th and just let Brian know if that's something you're
Yeah,
going to
because
attend
if
or
we
not.
have to redo the NOI, we may just
Might
as well
ask
just
to
come
do
back and
everything
miss
to
the
one
notice.
time.
After that, our next meeting is in February on the 11th.
Right, we'll miss the 11th, right, for fun?
Oh, you'd probably make the 11th.
Well, no, because if the next meeting's the 28th, that means they have to be in the paper on, what is that, the 22nd? And for me to get them in the paper on the 22nd,
Oh, yeah, I won't make the 28th if I have to file an NOI,
Right.
but I could make the February 11th one.
Right, and
Bingo.
so there's one other thing that you should know, which is that in general, when we do advertising, we make the Friday paper available to the folks in town, especially because they're not on a strong timeline and because it's less expensive. They could advertise in the Sun newspaper, which runs 7 days a week, and therefore they'd have a better opportunity to get advertising if it was important to you to speed up your timeline. You can spend more and be advertising immediately. So I don't know if you knew
Yeah.
that before,
no,
but
that
that's
hadn't come up yet.
right.
It's just unlikely that I would have the NOI ready.
No, it seems like it would be tough, and
I mean, if I could, then maybe I would take advantage of that. I just don't see that happening fast enough to get everything in ready to, so that I could advertise.
Well, one way or the other, just let me know what you
Yeah.
want to end up doing.
Do I have
I think
your
figuring
email?
out the stream will be pretty fast.
Yes.
I can't imagine any of this is going to take more than 2 hours tomorrow
His
morning.
email?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Monday
Rainmaker has your
morning.
email? Awesome.
Did we get reimbursement for the legal ad for this meeting?
She just
Yes, I
handed his
gave
a
it
check.
to you. at the beginning.
Oh, did I post it twice? No, sorry, this should be good. I'll double check.
Okay, how much is the check for?
$60.86.
$60.86.
That's the reason your fare's going up. Okay, so thank you very much. Is there anything
Thank
to
you.
add?
Nope, I think
So-
we got
Okay.
a plan.
Okay, so we'll look forward to either seeing you or your letter
Hearing from
on the
you.
28th.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, while they are collecting materials, I would accept a motion to continue this public meeting until our meeting on January 28th.
Do we have to do that?
Well, I'd like to. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, so Jess, I'm going to put this back together as best I can, but
Just so long as the,
You're gonna get a new package either way, so.
it's not going to make me feel any better, but thank you. This is what happened to mine as soon as I took it home, it like self-destructed.
Yeah, it was a little thick.
What might be staples for, and 1 inch thick?
And that's why I
Three-quarter
said,
staple for
Yeah.
one
oh,
inch back.
that one. That's why I said that. Okay, here's half.
All right.
oh, that part under your hand.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I'm getting to it. I just wanted to, 7:35, we have an RDA for 43 Willow Road, applicability of stormwater management system maintenance rules to snow plowing.
That's your small plan.
That's what's that.
Yeah. Up right up.
Oh, excuse me.
Sweet fancy houses. Good evening.
Hi,
Your name is?
Ken Snow.
Good evening, Ken. I think we've seen you before, haven't we?
I don't think so.
You sure? Am I having a early senior moment?
So you want to run through it?
What's that?
You want to run through it?
Sure. I'm representing J.P. Luthier and Sons Recycling Corporation. I'm a environmental engineer.
We
And
did meet you. We met you back when we had the first problem with the Ruthier property back in, in
Oh, okay,
yeah, 2004, 2005.
okay, yeah. And, in 2011, Ruthier sold that operation to Liberty Tire.
Correct.
And this past June, he purchased that operation back. He
Okay.
hired me, I helped him out with some of the portions of the property, or the operation transfer, it's not really property transfer. And one of the things that he needs to address is the stormwater issues. So
Yes.
I am helping him do that, and in the process of doing that, we found some tire chips that had got pushed over a retaining wall towards the wetlands. I
Okay.
think it was, I'm not sure exactly how they got there, but I think there was a lot of snow last year, and they were pushing snow up into large piles and so forth, and I think tire chips went over the retaining wall,
Sir,
which is roughly like 8 feet or so.
Yeah, it's
So
a
they
bigger
want,
wall than I thought it was gonna be.
yeah, it's
and if I may, so if I'm holding the plan like this is the hill
correct,
on this side where the monopole is.
correct.
This is the road into the parking area that, the huge parking lot that's back here.
Right.
And this is the road out here.
That's
And
Willow
so
Road, yeah.
This is the stream that goes out to Willow Road, out through this area right here.
Yeah, more that way, but,
Oh, this side, okay. And this is where you had that dewatering basin. Remember you had flock? You
right,
had flock logs in this
Right.
area right here.
right.
Okay, now I remember. Okay,
So,
just wanted to make sure I was oriented correctly.
so in the process of going through some of this stuff, we noticed that there was tire chips over there. They wanted to go clean them up, and I said, we better get talk to the Concom first.
Thank you very much.
So I looked through the regulations, and what I prepared here was basically a justification as to why this work should be considered maintenance of a stormwater management system. Now, I'm basing this all on definition. It could be considered a stretch of the definition to some degree, but I thought I'd put this together in the event that you needed some kind of backup or rationale as to why is being put together, being requested that this is not applicable to the wetlands regulations. And what Ruthier wants to do is to go ahead and clean this up and take care of it. He'd rather spend his money doing that than in consultants like me. So,
I hope you didn't phrase it that way.
well, he pretty much does. Even a little harsher, if you know the guy. So at any rate, this is a request to basically determine whether or not the
Sure.
regulations apply, and he's gonna do one way or the other. It doesn't matter. He's not resisting anything. He just wants to.
No, we appreciate that. So he's talking about sitting up here with a machine,
Taking out,
extended reach going over the side.
Yeah,
I assume he's going to pull a bunch of the blocks out.
he has to take the blocks down to grade,
Sure.
bring the tracks up on the blocks, have an extended boom, reach down as best he can. They'll do hand raking, hand shoveling, whatever they need to do.
Okay.
It's fairly steep after that retaining wall down to the wetlands.
Sure.
So it's you wouldn't want to put a machine down there really anyhow.
No, but the plan you're suggesting makes the most sense because your only other option is to build a ramp into there to get your machine down in there, so. No, this is greatly appreciated. I don't personally have an issue with this at all. What we would probably want to just see for the sake of the commission is if you could take some before and after photos and email them to Brian, that would be spectacular. So probably the only thing we would do is indicate that special condition would just be some before and after photos, so we'd have an idea of the extent of the work. What is the plan? So along that same line, and based on the description you gave, what is the plan for snow plowing this year? What are you going to do different?
Well, they're not going to push it over the wall like that.
Sure.
What they've got to do is designate an area on the site to pile up their snow. So if you've seen the facility, which I think you probably have, you can't put a loader across there and move snow without picking up some of the tire chips.
Sure.
So it's going to have, it's assumed to have tire chips, so they're going to have to stockpile it on site. They do have a snow plan. I haven't, a snow plowing plan. The operator there is developed that, but I haven't taken a look at it. But it's
Okay.
going to have to be obviously within the containment.
No, I remember from the walk, we came in, everything down below at the time was pretty built up. Everywhere you walked, you were walking on tire chips.
Yeah.
And then when we got up into the farther area, it was very muddy, very mucky, and this was the big piles of chips up here.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if there was any pulled out steel up in that area, but
There's some of the concrete bins further down that they pulled the, what they call the bead, the steel out of the rubber,
right,
and they pile that up and then they sell that.
sure.
Now, they sell tire chips, so they weren't intentionally pushing them over the wall.
No, right, that's a lost product.
And just so that everybody knows, the tire chips are very stable, they're not toxic. I mean, if they were toxic or leached anything, we'd have a problem all over the country.
Everywhere. No, but they do collect mosquitoes in their rare form. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about what we're talking about for the application?
No.
Yes, sir.
What is the existing, well, at this time we might be covered in snow and ice, but what's the vegetation? Well, so you mentioned it's pretty steep down there, and then what kind of vegetation are we talking about? Do you know?
I don't know, I'm not a wetlands person.
Is it vegetated or is it?
Yeah, you know, you can see brush and so forth coming up through tire chips,
Okay.
that type of thing. There's large trees there as well.
Did you see it? What?
It's pretty shrubby and woodsy, and the retaining wall is a boundary between, a highly industrialized space
Yeah.
and basically the toe that drops straight off into the wetland. And so, the 8-foot retaining wall is built on like an 8-foot slope that's right below it. It's almost a continuous, like 16-footer, you could almost imagine.
So if they're, I guess, scraping that with the intent of getting the chips out, having seen it recently, do you have a concern about, one, erosion, and two, disturbance of the vegetation that's there, and then what might appear there after it's all been kind of scraped up?
Yeah. I mean, even if theoretically you just got guys in there with rakes, you're gonna end up impacting that slope.
Yeah.
And even because the leaf litter and the tires are essentially one and the same thing, and so you're gonna be creating a bunch of bare soil. No matter how sensitive. If they're going there with like tweezers and picking them out one at a time, they're still going to end up, climbing up and down that slope in their boots. So,
Yeah, the soil is definitely going to be,
they're
disturbed.
Gonna be impacting.
Were you able to figure out what kinds of plants are out there?
It's a hot mess of invasives mostly.
So it's going to end up being just
What
the same
I-
sort of habits.
what I
Right, it's
propose-
gonna come back nicely as invasives.
what I propose is to mulch it and seed it. And I was thinking of grass seed, figuring that the predominant species will come back eventually regardless. But if you want to put jute down, if you want to do something else,
I think you're gonna have to, the way you're describing that surface.
If it's that steep, then, I don't know.
Mat it in some way.
Yeah, so
Like-
that's the
like the jute that has the seed in, that type of thing.
I haven't used that myself. You guys use that? Have you seen that in any applications? Do you have a preference on, is there a material that's been more effective?
I guess, not having seen it and not remembering it from several places.
They used the
Only 10 years
material,
ago.
when they graded up on the other side, that side of your drawing,
Yep,
they regraded that some time ago, back in 2004, and they used a matting, rolls, and they pin it in
sure.
to the side. That's fairly steep.
It's seriously steep if you look at the plan.
Yeah.
I seem to remember it was virtually straight up in a couple spots.
And the other thing too about this is that there's an area of tires that's highlighted, but I don't know how, if the tires are restricted to that space, or if they kind of slid off further, and how far out are they going to go looking for their scraps?
They're gonna go to the end till they find
So
it.
are they going to clean everything? Like, or is it just sort of like the work that could be
Well,
just in the highlighted
I didn't go
space?
down and dig around with a shovel to try to find, with the extent of the tire chips. I kind of estimated based on, where they would push snow. But they gotta go to the end of it. They
Fair
gotta,
enough.
they
Yeah.
gotta keep going until they get it all.
So then theoretically, they're gonna get down off the slope and into the wetland itself, more or less. Potentially, it's an option.
All right. So since we're talking about material that isn't hazardous in its state as it is today, does it make sense to say that we would want to, and can we even, without flagging, say we'd stay a couple feet away from the actual edge of the buffer zone, the actual edge of the resource?
I mean, if they're gonna be in there, I think it'd behoove them to get the tires out of the resource.
Actually, why don't we look at it a different way? So, if you do the work while it's frozen, then they can effectively stand on the ice that was the resource area to get to the edge in a way that would be far less disturbing or invasive during a different time of the year. Does that make sense?
And actually, Takashi, an opinion here would be good. This seems like potentially a better use of a restoration plan than an NOI.
Well, you wouldn't, they're essentially one and the same.
Yeah, but
And
I've seen some commentary that, basically it's simpler, quicker, easier to do the restoration work, and it's more accurate, because they're not necessarily doing a project that'll leave, they're trying to improve the space rather than build something.
Yeah, but, well, in this case, they're removing tire chips, so that came from their facility, so it's not like they're doing a public benefit,
Yeah,
So in my opinion, it's not the same thing.
fair enough.
Now, if they, as part of doing it, they
Clear
clear out all the
invasives,
invasives and
which
create
they'll
a
probably have to do
native-
anyway, just to work.
native wetland community, that would fit more, I guess, cleanly
Yeah.
into a restoration.
And it would give them the ability to clear some of that shrubbery that's going to be in their way anyway, because they're going to be pulling out some invasives and doing the wetland a favor on 2 levels, making the work easier.
So, what's the likelihood that we're going to get those things to take on that hill?
I'm not sure, I'd have to see it to get a better sense of what we're doing with that. Do you know if this is within the ACEC?
I believe it's outside of it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that really is.
Basically, if you're on that side of any of the ponds, you're out of it.
Correct. That makes it easier from that standpoint.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you have an area where the tire chips have ended up due to past work that was done on the property. Your plan is to then retrieve the tire chips to clean the area up, seed it, put the jute down over the top so it stays in place, and effectively, if the work is done in the winter weather, I personally can see where it would have less of an effect on the area below it, but
Agreed.
I'm open to interpretation on that. I mean,
Can I ask, if it's done in the winter, how do you know you've gotten it all? Would you be digging into frozen ground?
my guess is the machine is going to be such that it's going to scrape away everything on the top, whether it likes it or not. So, is that a fair statement?
I think so, because it's not like nice flat soil,
Right, and it's not going to be a small machine if you're going to reach all the way down the hill with it.
No, there's gonna be 2 or 3 foot wide bucket.
Right. Okay. So, if we're on the same page, we appreciate the work that's about to happen. We would be looking for the area to be left fairly graded smooth and then seeded and put the mat over it.
Yeah.
We appreciate that that's a best case scenario, but that would be the best way to leave it. And if we could take photographs or at least certainly notify Brian when you're finished so we could take a peek at it, that would be great. Anybody have any other thoughts on that? George?
Do you want me to
Yeah,
send you something on what we're gonna use for jute mat? I'd have to
No, that
do a
would be
little
great.
research,
Just,
little research on that.
I don't know that there are a whole lot of gradations in difference on jute mat, so.
So, the determination?
Well, so let me, before we get too far, did you have any thoughts, George?
If it's that steep there, do we want like a wattle on the edge of the wetland?
Good idea.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
A wattle at the edge of the wetland?
Straw,
So,
erosion
straw
control.
wattle, the erosion controls.
Oh,
So,
wattle.
yep, are you familiar with the rollouts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, if it's that steep, I don't know. Well, I guess if it's frozen, that helps to keep things from moving. But you know, when you're operating a large piece of equipment, it's not a fine-tooth comb. It's gonna be digging up a lot of stuff. You know, it's got to be the biggest straw wattle you can take, you know, define. Or I'd be okay with the old-fashioned hay bales.
Hay bales.
Just again, not having seen it, but hearing it described.
The work in the winter, it may be hampered. I mean, if we get a foot or two of snow,
Sure.
you know,
I guess it depends on your time frame. I don't think we're expecting any I think we're expecting another flurry or something for sometime in the next week, right? No, in fact, it's actually gonna rain on Saturday now.
When were they planning on, or hoping to do the work?
back in December when it was warm.
I mean, I definitely agree with Bill that, you know, if you have to be doing work near in a wetland, the more frozen the ground is, the less disturbance, you know, less of a mess you're not making, and less potential for erosion, siltation, that kind of thing. But if
Well,
it's covered in snow and you're looking for,
I guess what I'm envisioning is that we'll start it at one end, so they're gonna be walking and basically being on areas that hasn't yet been excavated, and pull back and keep moving along so that they're not walking over cleaned up area. You know, we'll proceed in that direction so that and then we, at the end of the day, they put down the jute mat or whatever they put down. So they do a section at a time and keep marching down.
Sure. Okay, so I think the condition that we would, conditions we would look for would be for the installation of the wattle down the bottom. And I think to Takashi's point, based on how steep the slope is, have hay bales above the wattle, so the wattle would actually support them. Does that make sense? So you put the wattle in and then put the hay bales above the wattle. Would that give you the height you were looking for? I don't know that, I don't know what the differences are in sizes on the wattle that you can buy.
the ones that I see are typically, I think 10 or 12 inches is kind of the typical.
I think that might be on the big side.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on the
most of
big
the ones
side.
that the guys are using are
Small.
the small ones that they're buying.
So I definitely wouldn't want to.
They're buying in the socks.
Right. I would definitely would want 10 or 12 inch wattle, and I don't know, but Brian, you've seen it, so I would defer to your judgment on whether you want to see that back up with the silt fence in the more traditional manner, or if you think we could live without the silt fence.
I think I'd rather not have the silt fence, if only to refrain from potentially introducing the plastic into the wetland when pieces snap off, or, you know, things get left behind.
As opposed to tires.
Well, right, fair enough.
I'm not being facetious, but I mean,
Yeah, no, I guess point taken.
You know, I think, you know, our goal is to be protective of the resource.
Right. You know, if we're gonna leave pieces behind, which often happens, I'd rather straw left behind.
Could you get a sense of how wet it is?
It looks like it potentially could get really wet, because all the land around it is paved over, and it's a little teardrop of
Okay.
wetland, and
So it's
so potentially it gets a lot of runoff from the pavement in the vicinity.
Okay.
On the other hand, it's really flat pavement, so I really couldn't tell you which way the land fell.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would definitely want to see some erosion controls, but I'll leave it up to Brian to decide
okay.
if it's appropriate.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we condition this, so this is an RDA, so I would be willing to accept a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability that the law does not apply in this case with the following conditions: that the toe of the slope be contained with a 10-inch wattle, or hay bales. That way, if you can't locate a 10-inch, the larger wattle, please go ahead and just use hay bales instead. Because like we're talking about, the typical wattle that you can get in the sock is probably somewhere, in fact, some of them I think even look smaller than the 6 inches. They look closer to, 5 inches even. So if you can't get the significant wattle that would really stop the material from flowing, please do hay bales. That would be the first condition. And the second condition would be that photographs of the area be provided. And you've already noted that the soil areas, disturbed areas would be seeded and mulched. The third condition would be that area be covered with a jute mat upon completion. I would accept that motion.
So,
Any further discussion?
Mhm.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Do I have to make any more submittals to you folks?
No, what happens is we sign off on the paperwork, including those conditions.
Okay,
You would just want to make sure that Brian is aware when you get started. And the only other thing that I would ask, thank you, the only other thing that I would ask is when you do work up the snow plow, where you're going to place the snow, if you have a chance to forward that over, that would be great. And that way, if Brian ends up coming out to see the project as you're underway, he could take a look at where your plan is to place the snow. Because obviously you've got to clear the snow, but you're surrounded by either a hill or a wetland on all sides, and that's tough. Okay,
okay. Good, so I'll get some correspondence from you.
thank you very much, Ken.
Okay, thank you.
I knew we remembered you.
Yeah, I didn't remember you.
Oh, that's all right. I was much younger then. Okay. I don't know if you slid that in that packet you had by accident.
I might be able to do it on Tuesday.
I don't think that's part of tonight's project discussion.
And if I don't, if it slips, I will send you something.
It's from the polls at the
Communicate by email?
hospital.
I
Okay.
dare say I did.
All right. 7:45, public hearing, notice of intent, reopen our public hearing for DEP file number 100-0387, Mr. Wheeler, Willows Road Development.
good evening.
Good evening.
Did y'all get to read up on the documents that passed around just after the holidays?
Were they by email?
Yep.
Then no. However,
Get a chance.
thank you. I'm kidding. I actually did read, this isn't it. Is this it?
No.
No. I did read one of the ones that you sent because I went through and I was trying to find these notes, which I then only found tonight, which was when we were talking about the mitigation area and the square footage.
Right. So you have no new notes in your packet. I've got all of the files here because I sent them to you by email, so I figured you had them already. But
These are the documents that the old documents, but that he uncovered.
That we found.
Right.
Right. No, so,
if you haven't read them, I've got them here, and I've got one or two highlights if you need directions through them.
no, I think I did see it because. A second. Means replacement, rehabilitation, or expansion of existing structures, improvement of existing roads, or reuse of degraded or previously developed areas. Okay. First, let us question whether all activities we located in previously developed RFAs did not clearly demonstrate. Previously agreed southern entrance roadway be located within a previously developed RFA. Question whether several proposed housing units within the RFA qualifies work. Applicant presented information demonstrating their opinion. All project activities located within disturbed areas, basic roads, road block, topsoil, and increased gravel. And the fourth photograph from 01 submitted which displays limited clearing activities. Applicant conducted soil test pits conducted in areas surrounding the buildings identified as 95 to 97. No specific soil profile data submitted for wanting in areas. So just define. Commission may listed as something. Okay. The applicant, so I did read this. The applicant is further proposed to remove invasive species around the pond and in the area west of Unit 95 and restore the degraded areas with native vegetation. Removal of debris with the RFA is also being proposed. Right. So good evening.
Good evening. So, yeah, so the documents and we reviewed it, even though it was missing, but the final presentation on the plan was accurate, reflected. So, and I think the most important one is to all the photos and their investigation is consistent with what we are seeing over there. So, so we had presented 95 and 2000, and this is 2001. So it's all pretty consistent to showing all this area degraded, lacking of topsoils, and so in that, under that circumstance, so the 310 CMR 58 5F or G can be applied, and that's what we read even from the absence review letter. So in my view, the previous approved plan is perfectly meet all the performance standards. And so for that case, I don't even propose to change anything, because if we change it and to DEP, they're thinking we did something wrong, to have to change it. So, I mean, there's so I, especially after read all the documents, I say, yeah, that seems like, so at the time when we approved, it was the same situation. And so when we apply, put in the building here, we replicate more than 1-to-1, and with all the stormwater mitigation, everything. So coming in, it's just the right thing to do. So I don't see anything we went through is inadequate. So that number they question us is not enough. We do have the area, it's not we don't, but it's just a feel at this point if we change it, send and say we expand it. Seems like last time we didn't do the full job. The Conservation Commission didn't look into it. So that's the only thing I'm looking at this point. So what the 310 CMR 58 so 5F is what require minimum 1-to-1 and providing all the mitigation we are going to do. That's we agreed to do, and for the work we are doing over there, stormwater infiltration. So it's all approved, in place, designed, calculated. So we don't think we missed anything. So at this, the 1-to-1, we can expand it, but at this stage, I just don't want to cause any confusion for the down, especially the neighbor is going to appeal it. They may say we made a mistake. So, but I double checked it, so we are compliant. So that's up to the commission. So yeah, I know last hearing we kind of talked about to increase to 2-to-1, but if you look in the situation, we really don't have to. That's all.
So you're not going to increase to 2-to-1?
Yeah, we are 1.12-to-1. So we meet the requirements. If the commission, just from your perspective, if we clearly, spell it out, say it's just. If we want to, it's not just because of we made a mistake, we increased to 2-to-1. That's the only thing I want to make sure we are not confusing people more than we try to do good, but somebody may not appreciate, so they may appeal.
So I do remember reading this. So do you have this document from October 25th, 2005?
Yes.
Yeah, I shared it with everybody who I had an email for.
Right.
Okay. So, first off, I couldn't believe the filing that the fee was $1,575. Thought that was pretty extreme.
Is that the supplemental, or is that?
But this is the second review.
Yeah. And the response, they paid everything, so
Okay.
they responded to it.
So
November 5th.
I do remember reading this, and in fact, the part I had the greatest interest in was actually the part that I don't think you highlighted, Jess. So, under it says, according to 310 CMR 10.58 Part 5, the Air Conservation Commission may allow work to redevelop a previously developed RFA, which stood for riverfront area, of course, provided that proposed work improves existing conditions. So in other words, if you're in a riverfront area and it's been degraded due to soil removal, etc., you may do work in that area as long as it was previously degraded.
Right.
And then you bring it up to a better condition than it is in when you found it. Work to redevelop previously developed areas shall conform to the following criteria. So Part A, it says you must shall result in an improvement. Part B, stormwater management per the standards. Part C, within the 25-foot riverfront area not located closer to the river than existing conditions. Okay, so that was one of the questions, and I think that was one of the notes that Epsilon had, which was with regard to the area that you were going to do removal of invasive species.
Right.
Part D, proposed work including expansion of existing structures should be located outside the riverfront area or toward the riverfront area boundary and away from the river. Okay. Part E, area proposed work shall not exceed the amount of degraded area provided that the proposed work may alter up to 10% if the degraded area is less than 10%. That one, to me, the first one, Part D, was a little bit more on the edge. Part F, when an applicant proposes restoration on site of degraded riverfront area may be allowed, notwithstanding the criteria of 310 CMR 10.58 Part 5, Part C, D, and E, a ratio in square feet of at least 1-to-1 of restored area to area of alteration,
Right. That's
not
fine.
conforming to the criteria.
Right.
So, what's interesting is the part you didn't highlight. So, areas immediately along the river shall be selected for restoration. But what's odd is then you keep going and you get to Part G, and it says when an applicant proposes mitigation either on site or in the riverfront area within the same general area of the river basin, alteration may not be allowed, may be allowed, notwithstanding the criteria of 310 CMR 10.585 Part C, D, and E, at a ratio in square feet of at least 2-to-1
Right.
of mitigation area to area of alteration. So, reading through this, they say applicant has not clearly indicated proposed square footage of alteration, nor have they identified the square footage of the mitigation areas. These calculations should be provided to ensure 2.2-to-1 mitigation is being provided. This part you did highlight. The applicant has stated greater than 2-to-1 mitigation is being provided, but calculations need to be submitted to support this statement. So, based on the way that the folks from Epsilon laid this out, can you show us, again, what your square footage is and what the mitigation area is? Because it does appear that it's within the same riverfront area or within the same basin. Would you agree to that?
Yes, I agree with it. So the 2-to-1, you actually can mitigate it off-site. But the one for the F, so 1-to-1, you need to be so conforming in the closest area and including a little bit more detailed 1, 2, 3, 4. So remove of all debris, but retaining any trees or other mature vegetation, grading to the topography. Right. So it's the 4-point and planting it, loam it to restore a more like a natural condition. That's what we will do over there. So.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. So I just read through those because I actually remember reading this actually on my phone.
Right.
So the first part says Part F says when you propose restoration on site of a degraded riverfront area, alteration may be allowed notwithstanding the criteria of a scale of 1-to-1.
Right.
In a restored area to area of alteration not conforming to criteria. Areas immediately along the river shall be selected for restoration.
Right.
No problem. That is saying if you're proposing restoration of a degraded area, then it's 1-to-1, and you would pick an area that is along the river. In fact, areas immediately along the river shall be selected for restoration. So in the area that you have highlighted, can you show,
Yeah, here.
is that an area that you would be planning to restore based upon the original photo? Would that area requires restoration?
Right.
Right, okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one we also went there to look at it. It's basically dominated by the invasive species and lacking, it's basically clay soils lacking topsoils. So that's throughout the entire mining area. And so the square footage we provided, not the one, that one was trying to do an additional last time. And so with all that, we have 1.12 to 1. So compare with, so what we are proposing to do, the alteration.
So this states, but under Part G, and this is the only part that I guess I'm looking for feedback.
Right.
Under Part G, it says when an applicant proposes mitigation either on-site or in the riverfront area within the same area. So the question is, what are we using to define mitigation versus what we're using to define restoration?
Right.
So Part F is about restoration.
Right.
Part
Right.
G is about mitigation.
Right.
So
The mitigation doesn't looks like they dictated the detailed loaming or the procedure compared with the restoration. So since we have to add in loam to it, so that's more restoration so mitigation and restoration. Sometimes the two words may be a little bit confusing. So if the area we don't have enough loam, it's all clay subsoils, we can add soil to it to restore to a more natural growing condition. That's what they're asking to, by cover the topsoils at the depths of consistent with more natural condition. But in the mitigation part, it's probably not too bad, and then you can just do more selectively. So it's not that it's not very clear in the mitigation.
I tell you what. So I don't like doing this during our meetings, but I think it makes sense. So I'm going to look up the definitions of restoration and mitigation because, quite frankly, the last thing I want to do is say that. The last thing I want to do is put all of us in a position where we act inappropriately because we didn't bother to look up the two words.
Right.
So I understand what I believe restoration means in this particular case. In this particular case, where you are taking an area and you are restoring it.
Right.
And so, the definition of restoration, if I could stop restoration hardware from coming up every single time. Restoration, as far as ecologically, is the return of a landscape, ecosystem, or other ecological entity. Hold on. And it just bounced on me. Environmental remediation is action to improve the environment or prevent further degradation, generally based on an assessment of health and ecological risks and subject to regulatory requirements. So, that's restoration. Everyone agree with the definition? It's Wikipedia. Could be faking it. Sure. Environmental remediation is an action to improve the environment or prevent further degradation, generally based on assessment of health and ecological risks and subject to regulatory requirements.
Right. Yeah. So that's if you
I did
look-
that. Hold on. I'm going to do mitigation now.
Mhm. Yeah, the mitigation probably not necessary to restore to a full
No,
natural
I would assume that
function.
mitigation is kind of to
Preventive.
deal with a
Would you
failure.
like the, out of the handbook, the definition of mitigation?
I do right after I read this one because I looked it up. The action of reducing the severity, seriousness, or painfulness of something. So mitigation is lessening the force or intensity of something unpleasant, like our meetings, such as wrath, pain, grief, or extreme circumstance. So what does the state say?
So the state says mitigation means rectifying an adverse impact by repairing, rehabilitating, or restoring the affected resource area or compensating for an adverse impact by enhancing or providing replacement resource areas.
Okay, so there I think is the big definition difference. So the first definition actually uses the word restoration, uses the word restoring. So
Right.
mitigation starts by saying restoring, and then it says, or the act of compensating. So mitigation, by connotation, is the act of compensating for a previous wrong or a previous issue. So restoration is we have a bad area and we restored it. Mitigation is we're either adding to the damaged area or we're doing something in the damaged area, and as a result we have a mitigation area, an area of compensation to make up for it.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
If you'd like, I could read out ecological restoration project too, but I think mitigation is essentially you are responsible for the damage and you're doing something about it, and restoration is basically fixing a problem caused by someone or something else.
So,
I
Thank
think
you.
like that,
In this
let's
case-
make it more clear.
Well, in this case, they're mitigating, they're proposing to build in a resource area, so they have to mitigate for that. That's the
Right.
mitigation.
that's the mitigation. So to the point, this original area that we're talking about, so the notes from Epsilon say the applicant has proposed mitigation within the riverfront area and within buffer zone, which includes the removal of invasive species and planting of native species. So what they're saying is that that area that we were talking about in lot 95, that was mitigation.
Right.
That act itself was mitigation.
I see one of the other, I think, I sent you 3.
I have all three. Which one would
No,
you
I-
like?
Oh, here.
Well, I think the ones with my little
Fair enough.
code.
Here, you want to trade out for mine? So Jess can use hers.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, I may have it right here.
Can I ask, because a couple of things. One, our last meeting, we went from mitigation of 2 to 1, now it's down to 1 to
Yeah.
1 something to 1.
Yeah, no, I'm making it open because to a way from how to view, so if you're allowed to order,
Right.
so, and you view restore it, or you allow to order, you mitigate it. If you read it, the mitigate a little bit, so the mitigation can even go into the watershed, don't have to be in the riverfront area. But if you are ordering riverfront area for alteration, you have to be limited your restoration in the riverfront area. You cannot say technically, if we left it up open in the same watershed, we probably use that as a restoration, mitigation to count that credit, because in the same watershed, you don't have to be in the riverfront area. That's what I'm kind of getting, maybe.
I'm agreeing with that, because it says restoration in the area of the river. Go ahead,
Right,
Jess.
right, you
So,
can, so,
but-
So,
Yeah.
go ahead,
So
Jess.
my other point, and I think one of the things we discussed last time was that area to the west of Unit 95 just intended for mitigation of invasive species? Or, I think Mr. Brown mentioned, he thought that was also intended as mitigation for Unit 95, that whole building too.
I didn't read anywhere specifically say that.
Well, it says it
here-
right here in the answer.
They included compensation for
Could I-
that,
could
right?
I-
Yeah, sure.
In
Sorry.
October 17th, 2005, the supplemental mitigation measures says,
Supplemental 1 or 2?
October 17th.
supplemental,
Does yours say supplementary, mine says supplementary information 2.
Yeah, they only have dated, right?
no, I think mine was, no. It's October 17th, but it
October
says,
17th.
Ah, okay.
but it says,
Mine's the second one.
okay. These areas,
Which is,
additional regions would be cleared of invasives and would be replaced with herbaceous, et cetera. These areas would also act to offset the square footage of additional housing units in the riverfront. So it seems like that area to the west of Unit 95 was both to mitigate for invasive species and also the disturbance of the riverfront area by Unit 95, 96, 97. So
Right.
that sort of troubles me that then we're reducing the mitigation area from 2 to 1 to 1 to 1. Because that is losing, going by Mr. Brown's argument, I'm starting to agree with it, it is losing,
Net loss
The
of
original-
restoration.
the original-
the original,
The
yeah,
original
that-
mitigation area.
yeah, from the building of Unit 95.
So in other words,
You see what?
I do. So in other words, the area that was hatched, and so turning up this paperwork turned out to be very helpful. Thank you. So there was a lot of discussion about what that area meant. And it appears that what that area meant was invasive species were to be cleared from the area to mitigate the effect of the installation of the building that's presently there, the units that are there.
Right.
So therefore, if you were to do anything with that area, you would need to have a separate mitigation area to repair or replace what that area was that you had taken for mitigation. So according to this, I don't want to quote it out loud because it said 7,000 square feet, but I think they said approximately.
Yeah, this area, so there's the total square footage is 6,886.
That's what it says.
Right.
Within approximately 7,000 square foot area
Okay.
westerly of Unit 95.
Okay, yeah, that's, so we are, right now, we're proposing to order a part of it, which is 4,408, so we will still left that portion. So right now, yeah, the logic, first I was thinking here, but say if we are coming back to look in the impact, so say this area is all fully restored, right? And then we say we come in to do the work over there. So we will allow to alter that as long as we can compensate one-to-one in this riverfront area. See, that's another one is reading from F. So that's another, I was
so
praying back and forth the same reason.
So what we said was that original area was mitigation area. Interestingly, 7,000 square feet. What's the square footage of? So does that match up?
Yeah. Yes, they match up. So the one we
No, I'm just trying to figure out if 7,000 square feet matches up to the amount of square footage of the building next to you, that Unit 95. What was the square footage in the riverfront area? Was it 3,500 square feet?
the building itself.
So in other words, if a mitigation area of 7,000 square feet was proposed,
Okay.
the regulations stated that if you propose mitigation on site or in a riverfront area in the same general area, that had to have a square foot ratio, it had to have a ratio of 2-to-1
Right.
mitigation area. So
Right.
therefore, if we have approximately 7,000 square feet of mitigation area, which would have extended all the way down, as you can see in the hatched region,
Right.
then that 7,000 square feet represented mitigation for 3,500 square feet, plus or minus, of foundation area. So
From
the
Unit 95.
from Unit 95. Okay,
Properly close. Yes.
so
Yeah, that's if I'm looking in that way, then our building is much smaller too. Well, it's not as total 4,000.
no, sure. I'm just working backwards.
Sure.
Okay,
Do you
So-
have to work backwards though? That one of those pages, one of the back of, I think the second supplement has it broken down by
oh yeah, no, you're right. What I'm trying to get to is so part of the argument that Mr. Brown made and part of the questions and concerns we had were, why was that area marked off for replication? Why was it marked off for a mitigation area? Okay, so it's stated right in here, it was specifically mitigation for 95. One of the concerns, one of the questions that we had before was, why specifically did they say they were going to remove the invasive species? But there was nowhere in the paperwork that said why that happened, it just was marked on the map. Mitigation area, remove invasive species. We didn't know what it was from. Okay, so now it's clearly identified. The foundation for building 95 resulted in a 7,000 square foot mitigation area. Okay, so what that applicant is proposing at this point is to take that mitigation area and perform replication of the mitigation in another area. Okay, if that's possible.
Right.
To perform replication of the mitigation in another area. So, if they were performing mitigation for an area, it would be at 2-to-1. If they're doing replication, then it would be at 1-to-1.
Right. That's right. That's right.
I'm not sure I have that right, but based on what we just read, that's what it seems to make the most sense. Does anybody have any further thoughts on that? Jess?
I'm confused.
Fair enough.
Okay. So it seems like if the 7,000 feet to the west of building 95 was 2-to-1 mitigation for 95.
And if you just look at the basic footprint of the building,
Right,
it certainly looks like it's bigger than 1-to-1.
right.
So
Right.
I'm assuming that it is 2-to-1, the 7,000 square feet.
But then
Yeah.
if we move that mitigation area over to where it's the orange area,
Mhm.
okay. And then what's the mitigation for the new building? Where is,
Well, so that's where the question comes in. So that's what I'm trying to hash out.
I have opinions, but
So I'm trying to figure out if I'm thinking of it correctly. Do you have thoughts, George?
I think you are.
Takashi?
I think you're on the right track.
Okay. Bonnie?
I'm on the same path as you are.
Okay.
I'm just a little bit confused about the entirety of the project from beginning to end because all the numbers don't add up. There's numbers, they're so different from every single document I've read. All the numbers just are incorrect, and it confuses me.
Yeah, so I know.
Well, before we go too far. So Brian, did you have any further thoughts?
It's
No,
just my thought.
no, I think you're barking up the right tree. I think I'll keep quiet until we get to the arithmetic.
okay, and I just want to be clear, that I'm not exactly sure what the tree is you're barking up yet.
Yeah,
I'm still sat there.
I'm with you.
What I'm trying to figure out is, so there was a review on the project that was done by Epsilon back in 2005. And 2005. And what Epsilon did was they broke down the riverfront area performance standards, just as in fact Duncan did when he was here with us. So this is invaluable. During that review, they said that they noted all the parts and parcels that the applicant was talking about, and they said, well, this work or that work, what it means, and how the performance standards of 310 CMR 10.58 Part 5, you got it tattooed right here on your arm, I know.
Favorite.
They said how that is applicable in this particular case. And so as they went down through, they said, well, as far as replication is concerned, they talked about the replication and they specifically spelled out the 1-to-1. Then they talked about mitigation. And they said for the mitigation, it's 2-to-1. So, in other words, if we have an area that is a mitigated area, and then you replicate it, are you replicating the area or are you mitigating the area? And it sounds ridiculous to ask that question, but unfortunately an awful lot comes down to it. In fact, double comes down to it.
I agree with you. I'm just wondering where you're going with it because I have an opinion on what it should be, but I don't know that you have the same opinion.
I would be happy to hear your opinion.
Well, I'm just thinking that if that mitigation area was meant to be 2-to-1,
Mhm.
I understand that he wants to put something in it. But if you're going to move that mitigation that was 2-to-1 elsewhere, why wouldn't it stay 2-to-1?
You mean, in other words, if you mitigated an area of 2,000 square feet, which was 2-to-1, why wouldn't you then double it again?
No, I'm just saying that that same amount of square footage, because it was 2-to-1, should still stay 2-to-1. I also don't understand how we can go and change a mitigation area that was meant to be a mitigate, like we're mitigating it. It's just, I don't understand how that can be done.
Sure.
Well, I think, are you saying like, and this is, I think my question is, then don't you have to mitigate for the new building?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're doubling-
I mean,
you're
now
doubling
you're
it.
You sort
putting,
of doubled.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the question is
so the
really
whole
coming
building
in.
is 6,000 square feet. Do they have to mitigate for 12,000? That's the question mark.
So that it's defined as a riverfront resource area impact. So if that area that's supposedly going to be mitigated is defined, this is how I'm defining it, as a riverfront resource area impact, therefore you have to mitigate that again. You have to mitigate that area again.
So unfortunately, we just hadn't gotten there yet. So the first part is that if I have an area of mitigation, I can't blank out the mitigation. So if I have a 7,000 square foot area and I'm going to take 4,000 square feet out of it, I would need to effectively replicate that 4,000 square feet somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
Times 2.
Wait.
No,
Don't.
we agree. I agree with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
But then comes the next part, which is, but hold on a second. Now, don't I have a mitigation standard for that area I'm about to work inside?
Right.
So in this particular case, if I'm going to do area work inside that 4,000 square foot area, I now have to mitigate that at 2-to-1. So what Mr. Brown said was, if I had a 4,000 square foot area that I was already due to mitigate, and I want to take it, I have to do that 4,000 square foot somewhere else. But then I have to look at that and say, well, but now under the Riverfront Act and under this particular statement, if I'm going to mitigate the area that I'm now going to take for 4,000 square feet, I have to double that somewhere else. So the only question comes down to, is this an 8,000 square foot mitigation or is it a 12,000 square foot mitigation?
8,000 square foot mitigation and then 4,000.
And a 4,000 square foot
Yeah.
replication or,
Replicate, right.
or remediation.
I think it's a replication for the 4.
No, so I guess, no, it's a little bit different. That's, I'm taking, right? So if I was last time of thinking is, so if this 4,000 is for mitigation, so it means I only relocated, you don't have to double it, just for the previous mitigation.
Correct.
Right.
That's the one.
Right.
That's the first 4,000.
Right, and then, so for the one I'm going to order, because that one you don't order, it's just basically parallel taking this to put in another place. So that's easy to logically understand. And then for the second alteration, for mitigation for your alteration compensation, that's if it's for under mitigation, it will be 2 to 1.
Correct.
So that 2 to 1 can be in the riverfront area, also can be outside of riverfront area, as long as you are in the similar, in the watershed.
Right. It quoted as saying in the general area of the river basin.
Right, right. So, but if I treat it as a restoration, then you have to be in the riverfront area for that amount, at least 1 to 1. If you go for mitigation, you can take in some in the riverfront area, and we can also use some the area up over there. So, because you only need to taking it out, the invasive species, put the lawn, whatever the building we take out from here, that's pretty much mitigated from original general alteration. That credit can be applied, in my view, as part of my mitigation. So so even using the mitigation term, so the worst scenario is about 8,000.
The worst scenario. Well, so
Right,
let's be careful. We use the word worst.
right, okay.
So here's what I think we're saying. You have an area of 4,000 square feet
Yeah.
out of 7,000 square feet, which
which
was mitigation.
Okay,
4408.
hold on, let me interrupt for a second before we start the math. 4,000 square feet is the footprint of the building?
No, the whole thing.
All the grass,
Exactly.
all the
Yeah,
driveway.
including the building as well as
So then what's the square foot on the building, just like yours?
it's about 3,000.
Alright, so it's about 1,000 foot of yard space.
Right,
Okay, just wanted to double check.
right. If you're looking at here, it's entire, so it's not just.
Okay. So I think the way to probably best phrase this is you owe 4,408 feet of mitigation area in that space.
Right,
Okay. You could put it somewhere else,
Right.
but you owe 4,408 feet of mitigation space.
restoration, restoration has to
Restoration as part of mitigation.
Right.
And the only reason I say that is it's
Restoration.
restoration as part of mitigation because it was 2 to 1 from the other space.
Be, right,
Okay. However, the reason that there was a mitigation in the first place is because the first building, 95, had work done in the riverfront area.
right,
And as is listed out very carefully here, if you do that, you're required to mitigate in the area of 2 to 1. So if you were to take that space
right,
and you were to do work in it,
right,
rather than use it as restoration space, it would fall under the mitigation portion, Part G, where you would have to create a mitigation area of 2 to 1 in the same general area of the river basin.
right. And
So-
so that's
So
what,
why don't we, so do we agree that if you then alter the riverfront area, that the mitigation standard of 2 to 1 follows?
yes, I agree.
Okay, so I've got 4408, I've got 4408, and I've got 4408. So 13,224. So where does that space now fall on the parcel?
On the parcel, so all the, so over here, all the buildings moved it out. So that's in the watershed, no buildings anymore, okay? So that's in the general watershed, but we do providing this 1 to 1 for riverfront, and the rest of it is in the watershed, which originally was clay and is loamed and is seeded, stable, nobody's going to alter anymore. So there's much more than 2,000, no, much more than 10,000 square feet in this general area. There's no buildings here anymore. So that's, I marked out, this the whole thing was like clay pit original. So that one, according to that, according to the regulation, can be counted as a mitigation area, but not for restoration. So that's what I'm coming from.
For the purposes of this discussion, what is the square foot of the orange area that you've marked off to the right there?
That's a one is about that's a 5,600 square feet. This one was at the last time I said we can add one more to here, but the real proposed restoration is over here for 4,950 square feet. This is in the black hatched area.
Okay.
Okay.
So 4,950 square feet, and that's the area,
In the riverfront area, which is more than this.
that's the area you were proposing
for
as
restoration.
for restoration.
Right.
Okay.
And then for mitigation purpose, so because I want to move this, so at this the 1-to-1, the same in the riverfront area out. And for mitigation 2-to-1, we say we already restored it, plenty of land in the watershed. So before was, if you're looking at the photos, the whole thing is kind of mess. So that's already done, which have a loam, have grass, perarious, things is growing. There's no, in the future, this will not put a building anymore, and it's going to be restored all to the natural condition and it's growing, which is probably, 4 times, even more to the alteration we are proposing here. So therefore, just for the overall side impact perspective, that's what we were trying to go looking from that and coming to whatever you see over there. So we can all agree that it's a significant improvement to the downstream, downgradient resource area. It probably is not a if. So that's what, because of that, why that you do the 2-to-1.
So just to clarify, you're saying that grassy yards is mitigation?
No, it's not grassy yard. This one is totally, there's no yard, nobody's land. So George, so he can, if you go there if you take a trip to here, originally have all the buildings. That's why we take it out, put in somewhere else. But so left all open, nobody's yard. So that one is maintained as just a natural slope. It's not people's yard. It's not going to be molded or anything. That's maintained in that way, if you go look at it.
So I didn't forget you, I promise.
Yeah.
So when I come down the hill,
Right.
come up, if you keep going, so actually let's come from that direction.
Right.
So I come in the driveway,
Right.
I come to the circle down the bottom, come to your right a little bit.
Right.
So I come up that hill a little bit, and then I know there are at least a couple units there on my left, and then the sales trailer is on my left, right? Point to about where the sales trailer is. The one
The one for the phase 3?
No, it was down on that road, right about where you're pointing now, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's, that part I only know we restored the whole slope. So above there.
Can you help with what I'm I'm thinking?
George, I know you have another sales.
And the sales trailer right on that road there is that you come in, go up the hill, and
It's like right around
you
in
go
here.
past. Yeah, you go just past that. Should be right about there, right?
Yeah, it's like right here.
Okay. So there are no houses directly behind the sales trailer right now, correct?
No, that 19 is all gone. There's no. That's
No,
also-
19 is there.
19 is there.
Is the last unit.
Okay.
These ones are
Okay.
gone.
This,
All
okay.
6 of those units are gone.
Correct.
Okay.
And then when
No,
you
I'm
come around the
glad you pointed
corner,
that out, because every time we look at this plan, I'm always thinking that those 6 units are yet to be built. Those
Right.
6
Yeah,
units
yeah.
are
No, they're
have been
gone.
Yeah, they're
eliminated
gone. There
from
will
the
be no
plan.
more. That's what I say. That slope area originally was degraded, so all the slumping area was all restored. But we're not. Before we have the credit to use it for houses, impervious or there driveways. It's taken out and it's restored to natural condition, not people's yard. Totally. So
right, and then here, we have 2 duplexes as opposed to the triplexes.
Right.
And then this obviously is the one we're moving, and then we're moving 1 unit across the street right up here. So this whole area here would also be
restored.
Open,
Yeah,
restored to
mitigated. So,
mitigated.
yeah, so it will be, but I don't want to even, I don't need to create that, claim that area because that kind of fall into people's backyard per se. So if we do that, then, so but here I know for sure, I monitored for a few years, there's no alteration at all.
Okay,
And it
so,
will never be, so.
so before we go too far, so, you had some thoughts?
Yeah, if we apply.
No, she does, sir.
Sure.
Hold on.
The 6 units.
I knew you did.
The 6 units they took out. You know what I'm talking about?
The ones we're just referring to right
Right.
now.
That, before we're talking, they're gone. That was like a plan decided before all of this. So I don't understand why that should now count as mitigation area.
Well, so I
To
guess
their
the,
credit.
so just so we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So the point of mitigation, and that's part of what I'm also trying to figure out here is, so we don't deal with a lot of riverfront mitigation in this way.
Right.
So having this information and going through this discussion, as painful as it is unfortunately and very important for making sure that we're doing it right.
I understand.
So I've never heard of that happening in that case either.
Okay.
So I was actually just about to double check this section to figure it out. To the point that that area has been cleared and is that the clay soils that were in place have been removed and that the area is grassed and now does therefore allow the area to recharge in a different way, that's true. Because I don't know if you remember at the very, I don't know,
I do remember.
remember how messy it was.
Right, so that's just one thing, and then the only other thing I wanted to bring up was this whole mitigation in the general riverfront area. So, my concern is, I understand that we're doing mitigation elsewhere, but we're just plunking it someplace else. It's, what is general, like, does it have to be within X number of feet?
Well, that's why I was-
Obviously, for 95.
That's why I was reading this.
Okay.
Right. No, and that's
But those
trying to
are
be.
my two things. It's like, why do you all of a sudden get to count as mitigation, a credit for you for something which was already happened? That's already happened.
Well,
That
you,
wasn't gonna get used.
It couldn't
I'm not disagreeing with that. That
Right.
doesn't make it not a credit anymore.
No,
It doesn't
I-
make a good deed doesn't go away from being a good deed just because you now want to claim it when you did something wrong.
wasn't a good deed.
It's a terrible, that was a
So
terrible
that's-
metaphor. I was
No,
thinking
I
of
know.
Catholic school.
But the thing
But-
is, it wasn't built because they couldn't build.
No, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. So that's why I was going back. So, when an applicant proposes mitigation either on-site or in the riverfront area within the same general area of the river basin, alteration in the ratio of 2 to 1. The actual language states, when an applicant proposes mitigation either on-site or in the riverfront area, it actually makes a distinction of or. That would mean that that area would apply. Now, in this particular case, let's say that the applicant wanted to make the claim that the area on the other side of the mountain, on the other side of the hill, far away from the river was part of that. That would be a lot harder to swallow because it doesn't make any sense. It's not in the same area of the basin. It's not in the same recharge area.
Right.
I haven't quite got my head all the way around it, but based on what we just read, we went from 4,000 for 4,000 to 13,000 for 4,000 to this is where 13,000 fits. So it's been a wild ride. So.
Right, yeah, so in a way, put it this way, originally this would be a 6 units over here, it would be permanent alteration. So we moved away yet, of course, I agree with you, due to, you can be due to any various reasons.
You're not gonna make me happy by telling me that.
No, I'm not, no,
I mean, I understand where you're going with it, but it's
what
not-
they have for the commission to looking
Right.
into the perspective. So that would be there, would be impact to the whole watershed, to the river. So take that out, it's not that we are not adding, we are not just adding, we just because of the side complications, for all that reasons, we need to shovel around. So it means you're restoring some, mitigate or restore in one area, you have to order other place. So that's all this mitigation comes from here and there. But that's I'm not saying just using the good deeds, but that's what the reality is.
No. So tell me one thing before we go any further. So the hatched area represented 4,950 square feet.
Right.
So the highlighted orange area represented another 5,600 square feet.
Yeah, that one I say, so that's what's original, trying to put it there, but actually, I'm just trying to take that out. We only need this for.
No, I'm just asking about
Yes.
pure numbers,
Right, yeah, it's a 5,600.
right? So what's the area behind the orange shaded area? No, back down where we were. What's the area beyond that toward the tracks?
This one?
No, sir.
The hatches.
From the hatch to the orange and beyond. So,
So this one?
no, sir. Go back to the 4,900.
Okay,
Yep, that hatch. Now to the orange.
yeah.
Now behind it.
So this is just empty, there's nothing there. We are not proposing anything there, yeah.
Right.
Right, yeah, if I'm looking at it, you probably have, at this, from here to there, I would say you probably can easily have 7,000 square feet there.
Okay. Jess, do you have any further thoughts?
I'm not happy with moving things up to the location of the other buildings, and given that the area with orange was included in the suggested 2-to-1 mitigation last meeting, I don't like that having been reduced, so I'm just disgruntled feeling about it. That's all.
No, it's okay,
And
so
it
we are
just
over.
seems that, the area of the riverfront that's been disturbed, it should be compensated
Within riverfront area,
riverfront.
if it's available.
Well, and that area is available.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy with, it does seem like going up to where the 6 units were is shortchanging.
I agree. I think hypothetically, I think when you restore a mitigated area, you're restoring the worst possible area. Like I see, when I walked, I saw a huge area with purple loosestrife that was around the other side of the pond. That could be restored. That those plants could be dug up, and then you could plant. There's a chart in here with species, right?
Yeah.
Shrubs and species that were intended to go in there originally,
Right.
right? So you sort of take the worst case scenario
Mhm.
and you make it better.
Right, no, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
this part's supposed to be, I don't know if Georgia we have done, this area is already in the mitigation area. It's probably not completed, or either the purple roof drive is just, it's hard to dug it out. You have to use those beetles to eat them. Yeah, you can, I'm
No,
not kidding.
I had them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Galaricella, right?
yeah, and on the other hand is, if you dig it up, it's actually probably cause more damage, because
Yeah.
it's already in the.
Yeah.
you know.
There's no,
Yeah,
there's
no room.
unfortunately,
Good way.
there's no
Yeah.
Right.
purple loosestrifes
Yeah,
like
over
kids. You just
here,
don't get
so
rid of it.
just for the purpose, I agree if it just say, regardless of whatever, I'm not saying trying to take in my word back, so giving it, I have no problem to give it, I just put it on the table to look in either, so from more, after reading it, you can look in from different angle, it's not something I have to take it back, so we can keep it. So if the commission deems it's a more beneficial, but I'm just trying to say, the original one, according to the regulation, I agree, we can have a different opinion, but we did restore here, mitigate it, so the whole site, from that condition to totally green, except very minor construction area after done, it's totally, no question, it's a lots of restoration, mitigation from the project overall, so.
All right, so, thank you, Shane. So, I've heard what you were thinking, Bonnie, thank you, even though you went out of order, we go clockwise. George?
I don't have a big problem with it. I'm trying to think if we'd done this at the beginning rather than changing it in the middle, how would it look?
I agree with you. In fact, that was my thought was along the same line. It was that we probably would have looked toward the riverfront area restoration, especially going back to the old photos and having been on the site. I think we would have probably been pointing more toward that basin area as opposed to up the hill.
I wish that too, we just couldn't find all the documents in the process.
No, we're there now, though,
Right,
that's a good thing.
Right.
Takashi?
Yeah, I definitely agree with, what I'm hearing. The general sentiment is that where those 6 units were gonna be, that slope definitely looks better now than it did, 10 years ago. I don't argue with that, but it does seem a little, it also makes me uneasy to then now say that, okay, well, we've got this new proposal to build more in the riverfront area, let's take this area and say, oh, yeah, this is the mitigation for that. That's, yeah. I'm not comfortable with that. I guess I would like to get maybe an interpretation from DEP on.
It's kind of along the same lines. I guess the first question would be, I am assuming that even if we said yes, you weren't planning to put a bucket in the ground tomorrow?
Right.
Okay. So when we take the hatched area and the shaded area and we put them together, we're talking about 10,450 square feet of the 13,000 square feet.
Right,
We're just about right there.
right.
I think that the sentiment of the commission is, as much as we very much appreciate that the other area was dug out and left, I also would say that I believe the other area was dug out and left because it was a really difficult place to put stuff.
Right, I agree, well, I'm not disputing.
So,
From a
based on recollection of while the construction was going along.
Right,
So, I'm very pleased that we found the information because I think that now, I don't believe that, opinions outstanding, of course. I think objectively we have covered the regulations that are under the riverfront area, under the Riverfront Act, because it's specifically stated if you have this area and you have replication, what to do, if you have mitigation, what to do, and for 13,000, 1,200, yeah, 2,400, whatever the number was, 224, we're actually there. That would be an appropriate representation of what would need to happen. So
does building in the riverfront area not, like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the whole thing. If you're going to disturb riverfront area.
like the building you're in.
Right.
Yep.
So my building disturbed riverfront area.
Right.
They did something about it.
Correct. Actually, they proposed to do something about it, which is the area that we're talking about.
Yes,
That work, the area's been cut, well, I just mean the area's been dug and loamed, but there was actually a planting plan as well.
Yeah,
So-
which never happened.
not yet.
You can't walk through there unless it's winter time. Anyways, regard that aside.
Mhm.
Now, if you put a building in that area, I'm just trying to wrap my head around are we not supposed to be improving the, like,
So imagine,
versus?
No.
I'm just confused.
there's nothing that says you can't change what you were planning to do there.
Agreed.
So in this particular case, what we're saying is that we had an area that was mitigated, and we had, so if we just simply say that 7,000 square feet is owed from the mitigation of Building 95, wherever that happens, 7,000 square feet,
I get all the mitigation.
Right.
It's just whether or not.
it could happen there.
Well, there's that piece of it, and then one would think that if you're going to do something in a mitigation area, it should be an improvement. And I don't see how building a house is an improvement to that area in the riverfront area. It's an opinion, it may not even.
No, I appreciate that you have the opinion, and that's why what we're saying is the letter of the law says that if you were going to improve an area, you still owe an improved area. And in this particular case, what we've worked out, we've
Agreed.
hashed out that total square footage would need to happen either in riverfront area or within the basin area.
Okay.
And so what we would probably recommend to the applicant is they could either come back with an area that equaled 13,224 square feet in the riverfront area, which would occur down in that area that's been hashed and highlighted, that would be 100% up to the regulations, and there'd be no question that it met the criteria. Or they could allow us to go to DEP and ask if the other area would apply, but I wouldn't go hedging my bets on that. I wouldn't, the area where the 6 units were, I wouldn't imagine that DEP would look on that as being the kind of replication they're looking for, not when the area is available to do it in the basin. My guess would be that would be also an opinion, but my guess is it would be an opinion that might come up during an appeal. So it might make sense to stick to the strict letter of the law.
Right, no problem. So that's what we'll discuss. I will discuss with the clients. I kind of trying to discuss that with them. So it's just to show up our position. If we do all over there, then so we forget it.
No, I guess the first thing I would say is I'm very happy that the original documents were turned up, and that we were in a position today to have this discussion, because subjective opinions aside, objectively, I think we've determined what the letter of the law is, and I think we're all on the same page with it. I appreciate that we may all have different opinions about where that ends up, but if nothing else, I feel comfortable that we've talked through what it should be by the letter of the law and that we're there. So I think unless there's anything further, and only because we've talked this essentially to death, I would like to recommend that we have a continuance to our next hearing, and on the 28th, and that at that time, if you'd like to posit a different thought process about the 13,200 feet, that's fine, but I think we're all on the same page that 13,200 feet of, and double check my math, of course, of replication inside the riverfront area, in the area of that basin, which certainly meets the criteria when you look up those photos. That was all disturbed area.
Right.
If that was a replication area, I think we would meet all the criteria of the law, and we'd be in a position to move forward on the project.
Yeah, I would like. Yeah. So either way, I think I know for sure we have the area. If we all decide to do, but I would actually probably go back. Checking probably with DEP quickly.
I have no problem with that.
Right.
I mean, the main reason for that is just that if something came to us in writing from Joe Bellino that was acceptable, that would be one thing.
Right.
But I know that that doesn't necessarily mean that the commission would still agree with you, because obviously there are a number of commissioners, myself included, who feel that you have an area that you can repair, and you're already working there anyway. So
we'll take the message with me. We'll discuss, and I know what the.
Can you just show me where that basin area, that riverfront area just?
Sure.
Is
So
that
see the hatched area and the orange area?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like,
the watershed, the basin of the
whole
river.
area.
Yeah. So if you're from this probably cutting this over, the whole thing cutting there, that's all in the general river basin.
Well, let me put it a different way that I think you're headed. So do you see the dark red line?
Yeah.
That dark red line is the 200-foot buffer
That's the
from the
200.
river.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
a river
Okay.
flow.
Yeah.
So, based on
So all of this is the 200?
that's correct.
Thank you. That's
Right.
what I wanted.
I figured that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the trading is between 100 and 200, so there's
Yeah.
not even nothing in the 100. So the 100-foot area will keep there.
And so we're
And
clear
that's all
that,
part of that parcel?
yes.
Okay.
And so we're clear that all represents changes that have happened since 1995. The Riverfront Act was passed, was it 95 or 96? I always mix them up. 96. Telecom was 95, Riverfront was 96. The Riverfront Act was passed in 1996, and before that, there was no special criteria.
Right.
And so this all came into place before the project started, and it was meant pretty much for exactly this. So, okay, unless anything monumental has come up in the last 13 seconds, I would accept a motion to continue this public hearing to our next meeting on the
Can I
28th.
clarify a point first
Please do.
on the arithmetic?
Sure.
So we had in the documents that 50,000 square feet of work would be done to improve the environment with the replications.
50,000
50,000
total.
grand total.
Sure.
And so we're going to lose 4,400 of that when they put in so they're going to put a place there. We're going to take up 4,400 square feet with the house in the New Yard kind of thing.
Correct.
And so 50,000 minus 4,400 is, 45 and a half. So then 13,000 is what's being used to go back in.
Okay.
So then we should be expecting just under 60,000 square feet of crosshatching here in the riverfront area to be on this next plan.
Hold on a second. I don't think 50,000 was all in the riverfront. I think 50,000 was over the whole project.
Right,
Okay, so then,
including here, so, Brian, if you look in here, it's all marked, including this too. It's a
Right.
total project site.
so
So-
just to clarify, right, so the math breakdown from that to this,
Well, so
just, for the sake of.
sure.
Yeah.
So, what I understood, so let's make sure we're on the same page. The crosshatched area, here, hold on, so that, no, because you
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
this up, and now this makes a big difference. So we're 100% clear, I'm gonna hold this up,
Exactly.
hold on.
So that everybody knows
So what we're
what else
saying-
it's talking about.
Is that this area was not part of the original area that was to be replicated.
That's correct.
This area is brand new, so therefore it's not being taken out of the 50,000.
Right,
Okay, is that what you're saying?
I think so.
Okay.
You go.
So if that's not being taken out of the 50, there's no loss. So in other words, any change to here, the math that involves this piece here, 1, 2, 3, for lack of a better model, this area times 3, if that occurs here, that doesn't have any effect on any of the original 50,000 feet because this area that you took is being taken care of in this section. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what you're thinking?
Exactly.
And that's what you're hearing?
I just wanted to make sure because when you brought that up, I just wanted to make sure
Oh, and
that
another number.
nobody thought this was being
Already
Counted
mitigation
twice.
area, no, that was originally not there. So.
Good. So then, that there, and then all told, we'll have roughly speaking 60,000 square feet.
yes.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
close.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was,
No. I'm glad you brought it up because I certainly don't want to. I don't want anybody to be confused or walk away from here thinking that there was some kind of chicanery.
Yeah.
So I would entertain that motion to continue to the 28th.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
January
Thank you.
28th, right? Not
28th. Not in 15 minutes, no.
You got one of my copies of
I'm not sure which one I
The
have.
one
You have
below
mine.
No, the pink one.
This one is you.
Yeah.
the clean ones are mine.
Were these both yours?
Yeah.
1 and 2?
Yeah,
None of these are
I've
yours?
got mine.
Great.
No,
All right.
These are valuable.
those are yours.
Okay.
That was great fun.
Thank you for
All right.
for
Thank
the
you very
hard work
much.
of keeping all the documents out, so I get really understanding too.
Well, if nothing else, there, I don't think anyone can say that we've skimped or missed over any of the parts of it that would put you at risk for a potential appeal,
Right, yeah, agreed,
which I think is probably about as important as anything else we've discussed.
right.
Or more likely, if, assuming the appeal happens, there's nothing that we necessarily didn't cover.
Well, and that's what I was very disappointed when those other items that were appealed ended up back with DEP. That was very, very disappointing. So this, I feel, was a useful discussion.
Sure.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, our 8 p.m.
Brian, I think we have to fine tune your estimation of time management skills.
Well, let's, why don't we go through these very quickly, because I'm sure Rick has waited patiently. So why don't we start with our public hearing enforcement order for DEP file number 100-0358, and you'll have to remind me of each one of these as we go, because I can't remember them by their DEP file number.
5-8.
Okay. So 5-8, this is the first, good evening. 5-8 is the first parcel we walked, and it's where the resource area was filled and grassed. Is that correct?
Yeah, the utility,
So,
utility corner was
Utility
going
ROW.
good evening. So, during our site walk, we started off on this property, lot 58, to take a look at the house that's located marked as number 26. And during that time, as we were standing there on the slope, we looked at the plans and we noted that we were actually standing in the area that used to be the resource area, but it had been filled and had been grassed over.
And that the homeowner was driving back and forth on that.
Yes, and that the homeowner had been using it as a driveway to access his shed up on the hill.
Wasn't that supposed to be filled? If you look at the as-built drawing that you have there, the as-built plan is dated December 8th, 2014, so that's about 13 months ago when the as-built plan was drawn. At that time, based on the as-built plan that Ross Associates prepared, that wetland had been restored as a wetland. We know that the current homeowner now has a driveway going through here. Yes, he does. So the issue is,
There was no snow when we walked it. There are tire tracks. So
Yeah.
what I
Is it
assume
this
or the other guy?
that
this
guy.
guy. So the issue is,
He has a shed on there now.
who
Yeah.
did it?
Who did?
Based on the as-built plan that Ross did for you 13 months ago, you did what you were supposed to do over here. Your limit of work line, which they showed here, you didn't permanently fill that wetland. You put the utilities in over here, and you restored that area.
Right.
Somebody since that time has filled that area with lawn, and there are tire tracks going through that lawn as a secondary vehicular access into the site,
Yeah, no,
which I presume is the homeowner that has
Yeah,
done that.
no, I didn't do it because we have emails from Lori because there was a question about the replication of the restoration, what are you doing? Now I'm conscious of that terminology. And from
Sorry.
Lori, well, I remember, I was yelling at Lori and Powell because I don't know whether it was done or not, but she said done, sent everybody emails saying it was done, a couple of years ago. So, I mean, it was done.
Do you
I
remember-
mean, no, I wouldn't.
Do you remember when you passed papers on this house with the homeowner? Roughly how long ago it was?
About a year and a half ago, I think. A year ago? No, about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It would have predated this as-built survey by Ross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, so the as-built survey was done on 12/8 of 2014, or at least it was stamped on 12/8
Yeah.
of 2014.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at this point, did you own the property on 12/8/2014? No. I'm not trying to be Rick. I'm trying to make sure that we're on the same page.
I'm trying to
Sure.
remember.
Bill, you might actually have the answer to that. There's a piece of property paperwork that I printed off.
We had that
That's
for a
from
while.
Steve, that thing. But what I'm talking about, which might help, which may or may not be in here. Let's bring it back.
Sure,
Yes, in
sure.
fact, I think I closed on that like a year
Oh,
ago.
building permit farm. Yeah, but this one,
Yeah, that didn't sell for a long time
Yeah,
ago.
that might be helpful.
the shed maybe? No, this is the house.
So the date it was issued,
This is a certificate of compliance?
no, this is the building permit was issued, right?
Oh, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
No, that house sat there for about a long time.
Now,
I
see-
couldn't sell it.
Date permit issued May 20th, 2014. This is date of last inspection was January 15, 2015.
Bummer.
So this must be,
Definite building department?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
that was,
permit closed. Permit closed.
yeah.
When?
Okay,
And then that's
so
the 14th. He's in 2014, this is 2015. Not
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, within a
a
month.
year later.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Oh, right, sorry.
Within a month after this as-built plan was done. So, and that would have been winter time. So it's doubtful that the homeowner would have, or anybody would have created that lawn area last
that
winter.
point. Although on January 15th of 2015, we still only had 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground. No, I went back through
But it wasn't, but it wasn't the growing season.
No. Okay. So, if we're understanding this correctly, what you're saying is that at the time when this survey was taken, based upon what's drawn here, the area had been replicated, nothing had happened, and it wasn't filled in.
Right, correct.
Okay?
Yeah, because just remember, it took a long time to sell that house, so it sat there.
Oh, no, I'm just,
So I mean, I
I'm,
did have it probably only a year ago, I think.
no,
What's the date on the CO?
it
Is
said, sorry,
Is that
Early in
the
the
15th, January 15, 2015.
All right, then we closed right after that then.
Right, probably.
Yeah.
Right, because you would have, undoubtedly, he would have come in, picked cabinets, that kind of thing.
No, it was done. House
Oh,
was
it's
done.
complete?
Yeah, couldn't sell it
Gotcha.
for a long time.
Okay, so in this case, based on the information we have before us, the work that was done to fill the wetland was apparently done by the owner of the property, who is not Mr. Roper and Crabtree Development. Anyone have any thoughts or questions about that?
What about the additional encroachment in the buffer zone?
Oh, hold on. Thank you. So our enforcement order, details of condition 53 and the order of the condition have not been met. Depth of the house was specified as not being allowed to exceed 28 feet. It was 34. Clearing in the yard was limited to 25 feet. Cleared yard is currently significantly deeper than the home. Furthermore, the home built is significantly different from what was
We
permitted.
can clarify that also with the as-built plan, because the as-built plan shows where the 100-foot buffer zone line is, shows where the version I brought from the blow-up that I have here, shows where the original proposed house was. The original house had a section of house 28 feet deep that would have been entirely within the buffer zone. The actual house was built partially outside of the buffer zone, just as the other one was going to be. The section that is 34 feet deep is entirely outside of the jurisdictional buffer zone. The section that is within the buffer zone at any point is not greater than 28 feet in depth. So therefore, there's no violation.
What about the driveway?
The entirety of the driveway previously was in the buffer zone. The entirety of the driveway now is in the buffer zone. It's just been shifted
Closer to the well.
closer to the wetland. But just
And
as
the-
it was
and the limit of-
previously, the driveway drains into the street drainage system, not towards the
But didn't
wetland.
the limit of work shift closer to the wetland too?
The limit of the work in this area shifted closer to the wetland, and that's where the boulders were installed. So that is correct. That limit of work line did shift closer to the wetland. Regarding the yard depth, which is cited in the condition, which is limited to 25 feet, that's a boilerplate condition that gets repeated from order to order. That is a backyard depth. The entirety of this backyard is outside of the buffer zone.
So let's go back to the numbers that we were talking about. So when we were on site, one of the things we noticed was the extent of work activity inside the buffer was increased from 5,900 to 10,900,
Correct.
which is approximately double. Nearest distance went from 34 feet to 7 feet. From the nearest distance of buffer zone work activity to the bordering vegetated wetland went from 34 to 7.
Correct.
And then the driveway shift. So one of the things, Rick, when we arrived, we were standing there on the property and we were trying to get a handle on how big a difference the changes were.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we realized that we were standing on lawn that wasn't supposed to be lawn.
Wait.
So we'll take up the lawn issue.
The lawn issue.
The lawn and the shed are subject to a different discussion, not a discussion per this time. However, I know that while we were on site, we were very dismayed to see that that the driveway had changed and that the work area had changed and that things had shifted over closer to the wetland. I guess the only question was, we interact so often. If you were going to make those changes, why didn't you just come to us? We could have walked through them.
Because I probably had to make a decision like on the spot. Historically, I have, and
I didn't think it really made that much difference. I had stakes, it staked out before I cut the trees, but a lot of them get knocked down when they're dragging the trees up, etc. But just as we were digging it, I was just looking at the driveway. If it was on the other, where it was proposed, it would have been a ski jump, even worse than it is now. And even putting it there, it took me 8 months to sell the house. I mean, it was just a ski tow. So, you know, that's exactly what happened.
I think
as far as I can remember.
That's more than just a field change, though. You're talking about a project is governed by an order of conditions based on an approved plan. If you're not going to build it to the plan, you have to come for either a minor change or an amendment. I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, you know, I was under the gun to get these houses done ASAP and loomed. I put them all in as quickly as I could and loomed them all because we were worried about, you know, we had all kinds of problems with silting. And, you know, proposed plans sometimes need changes. I mean, and I know I did that.
There's a process for that. And you've done enough of these, you should know that.
I know, and I really didn't think I was in a violation, to be honest with you. I thought where the foundation was going, it didn't matter where the driveway was. You know what I mean? As long as it was going straight toward the street. So, you know, I'm trying to remember, it was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and yeah, I guess I should have stopped and came back. But I thought I was actually far back enough. You know, I mean, I probably had, you know, maybe 2 or 3 stakes left after the tree guy. Couldn't get the engineer back there in time to restake it, every single stake, because there's probably 12, 15 stakes per lot. And, you know, and I just, like I said, I don't know. I didn't think I wasn't violating anything, to be honest with you, or changing it. I knew I changed the driveway location, but looking at it as I'm building it, I couldn't even walk up there where it was proposed. And I'm thinking only at right angles. You know, where the house was, the driveway, I mean, the foundation
Rick, I
was
think
there, and the
looking at-
violation was going this way.
Looking at what you built versus what was designed,
Yeah.
looking at it now, the design called for significant cut of the hill slope
Yes.
over here, which would have reduced the driveway grade coming up here. What you did instead was you built the house at grade. So you reduced your earthwork in the general area. Yeah, where you reduced it was outside of the buffer zone, but that flows down into the buffer zone and towards the wetlands. So I see what you did, and I understand why you did it. You were reducing a cut situation, reducing earthwork. But I think it's the slap on the wrist is that the condition says you have a change, make a phone call. Now, previously it was Becky, now it's to Brian to
Right.
say,
It would take until
Yeah.
the Saturday or whatever, and I've done that. We've done that.
We did
You know,
do that.
because
And-
somebody, because
and I'd also-
proposed, I mean, you can't build them necessarily because it's two-dimensional. You know, you get out on site and
Well-
it doesn't work out that way. So, and I've done that. We've changed them.
I just want to make sure I'm not gonna buy into that argument only because one of the parts of doing what this is you do figure those things out. That's what the plans are for. And I would love to let you have your cake and eat it too, but we just talked about what was outside the buffer, and then we talked about making a cut that wasn't that was outside the buffer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what matters the most is if you want to make a change, we have to go back to it so that it's captured for documentation purposes. And also because, you know, in this particular case, you know, when we were standing there on the site, everybody's going to Monday morning quarterback it and say, well, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that?
Right. No, I didn't, you know, arrogantly disregard and, you know, consciously change it. I thought I was all right. All I thought I was changing was the driveway. You know what I mean? I didn't
At this
totally
point,
disregard everything.
so
You know, knowing I was violating anything and just went ahead without notifying.
I think we were all distraught about the movement of the driveway. I do see the point that the driveway was in the buffer before and the driveway is in the buffer now. And I do understand that less earthwork is better than more earthwork. However, in this particular case, it might have helped you sell the house. I guess I'm dismayed, and I'm not entirely sure what to do about it. I think what I'd almost like to see is the wetland area fixed, but I don't know what everybody's thoughts would be on that.
Well, who would fix that? The homeowner or?
Well, in this particular case, I'm going to assume that the homeowner doesn't have access to a machine that could fix the area that was filled in. And I don't know what the topo for that looked like.
You want to look at this blow up though?
Yeah. Looked like it said 288. Thank you. So this has only been filled in. So I'm going to ask you, Steve, not to put you on the spot, but because we were standing there together before it snowed. This was a shallow, from here to here, this has been filled in a shallow way. This is not 8 feet of fill, this is maybe 2 feet of fill at the very most. Is that a fair statement?
It's fair.
Okay. All right. Rick, on the basis of the fact that, and I know we don't want to discuss this to the end of time, but I feel like we shouldn't be in this position where we're talking about anything that has to do with the house right now. I believe there's probably a half day's worth of work at the most for a bucket to take out the area that the landowner filled in. Would you be willing to accept that?
Of course,
as,
yes.
so do others feel that that's appropriate?
Shouldn't that be a discussion we have with both Mr. Roper and the homeowner here?
Oh, we're gonna talk to the homeowner next.
Yeah, don't I have an easement there though? Isn't there an easement? Can I just go in and do it?
Well, actually, technically, you probably could, but
Yeah.
I think what would be better to do from a
Diplomatic?
well, I was looking for I was going to say
Educational.
neighborly education.
Yeah.
What we're probably going to need to do is to speak to the homeowner because number one, he put his shed up here without. I'm assuming probably also without a permit. I don't know what the I can't remember what the square footage is. 100 here in Ayer, 110.
12 by 10.
12 by 10, so 120. Thank
Yeah.
you. He's probably there. I don't think it's any bigger than that. But we need to let him know that his passage through here is inappropriate and that as we don't even have to color it any other way. We can just say that as part of a settlement for ongoing work that's going to happen on the project, that we're going to restore this area and that's not going to be accessible for him as, from a vehicle anymore. So I wouldn't expect that you need to attend that hearing. You're certainly welcome to come in if you'd like to. But we would be talking to him about that. We might meet him out on the site if you wanted to join us for that.
Steve, is he one of the ones that has or hasn't turned in the affidavit?
58, he has not yet turned it in. He's been requested as William Ray and Cherie Carden Ray.
So he's got an excuse.
Well, actually,
Not necessarily.
it would be part of the discussion.
We give him a copy with the PNS, and then at the closing, his lawyers read them. His order of conditions.
So the interesting part is that
Yeah.
So an affidavit, you know, go ahead. What were you
no, I was
gonna
just going to say there are multiple sides to that.
Yeah.
The signed affidavit is belt and suspenders, and the whole reason behind it was because unfortunately a lot of folks don't understand this, and so one of the reasons we tried to approach the signed affidavit was you may not understand it, but if you had to sign it, you at least looked at your lawyer and said, "What?" And your lawyer said, "Oh, that's that wetlands down in the front." And at that point, you either said, "Oh," or you said, "Oh."
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
Not to oversimplify, but it's
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. If you believe that that's acceptable, what I'd like to do is to ratify the enforcement order with an indication that in the spring, that the area that has been disturbed inside the utility easement, and now you've completed all your utility work, you have no
Yes,
reason to.
yeah.
that the area that's been disturbed within the utility easement will be brought back to, it's
Yeah, I think it was just like a little channel, wasn't it? Like an overflow from one to the other.
pretty much,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, there's no culvert through it either, so
No.
it's
No,
not gonna act in the way it's supposed to no matter what.
no, that'll be easy to do. I can do that.
Okay. Do you have any other thoughts?
Plantings?
All right, it didn't have any before. Okay. On that basis, I would accept a motion to ratify the enforcement order with the condition that the area through the utility easement in lot 58 will be brought back to original condition.
Question before you
Oh,
go on that,
yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. On the enforcement order, it says to complete 2 notices of intent by January 19th.
That was me.
Okay.
That was insurance.
I'm just
So-
confused why
So-
2 and,
So the reason I did that was to get your head into what these guys would likely want to see, and one of them was restoring the wetland, and one of them was thinking about how to fix the driveway.
but if we file 2 more notices of intent, then there'd be 3 file numbers on the same lot floating
Yeah,
out there.
that's okay. We can, I'll fix that and erase it, but I just wanted to make sure that the driveway and the wetland were the 2 things, and that you guys sort of would come here with a project, and that's why the date was after this meeting, so that they would have time to.
Now, in regarding to replacing the driveway with permeable materials, are we talking about the secondary driveway that the homeowner put in, or the first driveway?
No, this is
No.
the first driveway, and this was, again, you know, because I was doing this on the fly, I wanted to make sure that you guys came in here with your thought process already on the driveway and how to reconcile
Okay.
that. And so that isn't, that's not like an ironclad thing. That was my attempt to provide a guidance of some sort. Maybe it was in the wrong spot, but
So do we need to file 2
No.
notices on the 19th, or we
just do what he
addressing
says.
this?
Don't do what that says.
Okay, just making sure.
So,
Fair point.
no, I'm glad you brought it up, because I didn't read through this as we were talking. So, with regard to DEP file number 100-0358, also amazingly lot 58 on the property, we would ratify an enforcement order that indicates the conditions that were in violation, and as part of this order, the single condition under restoration plan for the area inside the utility easement. Does that make sense? Would you like to make that as a motion?
Sure.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Uh,
Aye. Okay. So that we don't have any confusion, can we create a new one for signature?
Do you want to sign a page, and I'll rip off the front copy and just rewrite the front?
Well,
page?
I would, accept the only page I can sign is the one that has that written on the other side.
Fair enough.
So,
Let's see if I've got
And
one
it-
in the pile.
I don't know that if it looks right if I just X it out. Maybe we could do, please pass that back to Steve.
Let's see what we got here. Enforcement orders.
While you are looking for that one,
What we got? Is that? That one says
I'm gonna put the DEP file number on here so that we remember what it was. Okay. The next public hearing is for enforcement order for DEP file number 100-0354.
Should we close the last one?
Do we need to close it?
Close it or continue it? It's a hearing.
I guess you're right.
Is it a hearing or is it a discussion?
Posted as hearing.
Yeah, we are posted as a hearing, although I think it probably is a discussion, isn't it?
Where'd you read that?
It does not have to be a public hearing. But it has to be on,
Is it a meeting?
discussion's kind of too little, isn't it?
no, well, see, here's the thing, the enforcement order can be issued by any one member of the commission
Right.
if there's a time sensitivity to it. So it doesn't even have to appear on the agenda if it.
Well, the ratification does have to be done in the meeting, and so that's
Well, the ratification has to occur at a meeting, but,
not necessarily as part of
but
the
if
agenda.
we have a meeting tonight,
Mm,
and any one of us has reason to issue an enforcement order last night, it's not gonna be in our agenda, but it can be brought forward.
So
tonight.
the reason I did it that way was because we had hearings for these DEP numbers previously, and then it shifted from being a certificate of compliance to an enforcement, and so I kept it under the same title, basically.
Although
Those aren't
certificate
hearings.
of
So-
compliance is not a hearing either.
No, but I'm just saying the DEP number was raised to the level of hearing,
Yeah.
and so rather than sort
No,
of lowering it,
once you close the public hearing, at which point you issue the order of conditions.
but we never closed the hearing because we never issued a certificate of
No,
compliance.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
for
no.
100-0358, we would have closed the public hearing.
And then issued an order of conditions.
Yeah.
So the file number.
It just falls me right there, like.
No, 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 so although under section 10, part 8, because it's 1008, so what happened was the applicant filed a notice of intent. A DEP file number was issued. We had a number of public hearings during which we went over the application and then finally closed the public hearing when we issued the notice of intent. Or when we issued the order of conditions.
Right.
Later, they came back to us and said, hi, we'd like to close that out. And that is not a hearing either. That is request for a certificate of compliance. Which
Oh, you're right, that is that.
So,
Mm.
so
I'm mixing it
we
back.
never, no, so we never actually get to hearing. We are posted as a hearing, and it cannot hurt to close the public hearing, which wasn't a public hearing, for 100-0358.
I don't think that was it advertised?
No,
It can't be a public hearing if it's not advertised.
yeah.
Oh.
And then the butters notified and all that stuff.
So we really can't close the public
So we
hearing.
never opened the hearing.
But we had a discussion, so we.
However, the burden of notification by open meeting law is met since we had over information on the agenda as opposed to under information.
So, we'll use meeting in the future. Can we start our 8:03?
Public meetings also have to be advertised.
You're killing me.
No, it's. we
Well, I
always
am,
did
but
it as- Becky used to do it as discussion,
It should be a
but,
discussion unless you advertise it as either a
but
public
could we,
meeting or a
we
public
could,
hearing.
we could just adopt a format of in bold, just put in enforcement order or violation notice
Correct.
or,
So
You
instead of.
you don't have to call it in, you just call it enforcement.
yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
Let's deal with our next enforcement order, DEP file number 100-0354, please.
Did I hand off 5-4 yet?
Nope, I'm waiting for
Here's
that.
5-4, all right. And you handed me back.
I sure did.
All right.
Thank you. Okay. So 100-354, 23 Hemlock.
House had shifted slightly.
Shifted, cleared yard.
Yeah, we discussed this at the meeting and on the sidewalk, Mr. Chairman and members. The house is entirely outside of the buffer zone, so it's outside of jurisdiction. There are two wetland areas. There's one across the street on the other side of Hemlock,
Right.
and one in back of the house that each produce a buffer zone on the property. The house was very slightly shifted further away from the closer buffer zone to which it was situated. But in any event, it's outside of jurisdictional areas. And the limit of clearing is actually less than what was proposed in the rear. This is where the clearing limit line was proposed to be, this thick light gray line. And this symbol here showing a tree line is where the limit of clearing actually is. So we don't understand the enforcement order. That's where the limit of clearing was proposed. That's where the limit of clearing is.
Was the house completely outside of the buffer zone or more
Always has
outside?
been. Jess, you were writing notes going on the sidewalk. I believe this house, we said was all set on the sidewalk. I believe we said this lot was all set on the sidewalk. This was the second one we visited. Bill walked in the backyard, saw the boulders back there, was happy with them.
didn't take that details in this last year.
Well, no, I think you didn't take that detail to note, because I think we've written down the wrong one. Are those boulders there?
This lot had boulders, the other two didn't. 62, which has been hanging for a certificate for a year, and 63, which is one of the recently requested ones. Those two lots do not have boulders, but 61 does.
I'm only gonna ask one more time, and not because I'm trying to be difficult. We sure had boulders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you walked out there.
Yeah.
You came back.
Yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
remember, I just can't remember which one didn't. That's, I
Yeah.
just,
I did write in here, our rocks in the backyard. I think at the meeting,
We weren't sure at the meeting.
you thought boulders were missing on this house, and you thought this house had them.
Oh, is
And it
that
was simply-
flip flop?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
We're
flipping.
flip-flop.
This one didn't have, didn't
You
have.
confirmed on the sidewalk.
So then did I do that on the wrong lot then in that flip floppy thing?
I think we did.
No, I don't know that, did you mention?
So this is
No, we didn't
23
mention the
anymore.
boulders on this one.
Yes.
Can I see your notes one more time?
Which one?
That one?
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Rocks in backyard. So instead of an enforcement order, for this, we owe you an apology. And I think this is a mistake
So
from our
then,
sidewalk.
but does that mean that the one that I flip flopped with is
No.
that?
No, the
Well-
only thing outstanding on 62 was waiting for the boulders. The commission had walked that one last year and had
Okay.
addressed all the issues.
All right, so that one's just a clean miscommunication then. Is I think I.
So the sad part is it means that somewhere else there was one that we did have a problem on. I just couldn't tell you which one
Yes.
it is. I
Yeah.
think there was one that didn't have boulders, but I don't think it was when we had.
Well, we've got the
The
third.
next two lots, 62 and 63.
And so
Yes.
is that what lot number is
This
that?
one is Hemlock Drive, number 53, lot 63.
There we go.
Yeah,
0356.
and 62.
All right.
So,
So hand me that back and we'll crumple that one up.
so in the,
So that one is ready for a certificate.
with,
I thought there were 3 of them though that.
No.
all right, so before we do anything else, I'm assuming that because we did not post that we were going to talk about the certificate of compliance tonight, we cannot issue it. Is that a fair statement?
I don't think.
Yeah, probably.
You don't need to be present, but during our next meeting, please put on our agenda for the certificate of compliance for lot 61.
54,
That's
0354.
0354, lot 61, yes. Thank you. So, in the business of the enforcement order for 100-0354, the commission finds that the applicant is not in violation and no enforcement order is necessary.
So do I send them something like X-naying the first one, or do we just?
Did you prefer a copy to DEP?
Probably.
Then we'll
Yeah.
to make sure that.
We get you
know
the
that
stamp.
it's in there
Yeah.
And not ratified.
Liable.
Okay. And our last order of business for the evening, enforcement order for DEP file number 100-0356. This is for the parcel known as lot 6353 Hemlock.
It's right here. Right.
Yeah.
It's simply, the only issue is
The
the
boulders.
fence or boulders have not been installed, and the order of condition called specifically for fence or boulders.
So which one was this one as we went up the hill? Is this the,
It's the one with the easement between them, the big,
oh, right.
Big area.
Driveways on the,
Right.
on the side of the easement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and they have a swing set or a shed in that back corner that's not on there now?
That was on, that was on this lot, I believe.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, it's, no. There's a,
Oh, in the back.
Yeah, I think there's
in the
a-
back. Yeah, that one had one on the side. I don't know
Yeah.
on the side.
right. Okay. So at present, there's no signs or boulders for that.
Fences or boulders.
Fences or
Yeah.
Can I
boulders.
put a sign? I think that's what I asked last time. Because I can
Well, one
I
of
can
the,
kind of explain why they're not there, because we're putting a loam and we probably didn't have them, and by the time we realized that we didn't have the boulders there, the lawn was all in. And, to track over and ruin everybody's lawn with big white and orange boulders.
well, one of the
was-
problems that we had was they were already past where they were supposed to be, which is,
They were?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The lawn is already farther back. So,
Well, on this particular lot, I don't believe it. It was when the as-built plan was done. The homeowner might have shifted it since then, but it was.
so see where the boulders were supposed to be?
Yeah.
The grass goes.
But the grass goes there because that's where the drain line is. That goes
Yeah,
to this
but-
stormwater basin. So that the limit of clearing had to clear in order to install the manholes and the drain line that goes through there.
Yeah, that's all drainage. That's down into there. I can go back and do it. I just, I just think, what purpose? I mean, I know the letter of the condition, I just, they're unsightly, and it would ruin their lawn to do it, and what purpose do they really serve? I don't know. I think it's limited. Does it keep people out if that's the intention? I don't know. And I think I asked before, can we just put a sign there or something? You guys saw the boulders. They're not
Problem is,
not
there's no-
aesthetically appealing and fine. I understand. I can do it, but like I said, it's going to destroy everybody's lawn and to plop big orange boulders on the yard. That's all.
If you request a plan change, I'm willing to consider signs, but that's just me.
Can I do that?
I guess I want to meet the homeowners. Because at this point,
They're nice. They're not.
they already expect they have that lawn. They have no reason not to think they're going to keep that lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick's
I mean,
right. The purpose is to prevent expansion of lawn, so whether it's
No, I agree,
boulders,
and so
fence,
the
sign.
problem is if it was there before they moved in, then they, you don't know what you don't know what you don't try to want, you don't want what you can't have. Or I guess that's a terrible analogy.
No.
If the boulders or signs or a fence had been in place when they moved in the house, then they would have had a clear expectation as to what they were allowed to have for a yard.
Yeah, I don't think their expectation should be part of our calculus, I guess.
I agree with you, but at the same time, if their expectation isn't part of our calculus, then put the boulders in, because then their happiness isn't either. Because the boulders were part of the plan that was part of what they bought.
One thing that might
But-
be helpful in dealing with the homeowners is that the boulders were to be placed along the easement line.
Right.
So the holders of the easement, right now the developer and eventually the town, would have the right to put up a sign or boulders or whatever they want to protect the drainage easement. So there would not be an expectation, I don't think, on the homeowner's part that they have full use of anything in the drainage easement portion of their property. There should be an expectation on their part that the people utilizing the easement rights, the town or the developer, are gonna need to go in and out of there and do whatever they need to do, and the homeowner has to respect that.
Keep in mind, we've explained this to everybody twice at least. Before they bought and then at the closing.
Yeah, I thought though that like boulders or the fences or signs were supposed to be done before selling. Or when property was.
I don't think, no, I don't think so, because sometimes you can't do it in the winter, and you still close. And there's escrows held back, which a lot of these, that happened. They were loomed or maybe loomed and then sat. But, the only thing I have to get in is a driveway, of course. But a lot of these closings, like even right now, I can't landscape, so they're loomed, but they're not completed yet until the spring, and that's possibly what happened here, but.
Can we change the way we do things?
Yeah.
I think we have to, and probably have to come up with some other way.
Because we also have an outstanding certificate of compliance for 37 Hemlock, also because of the lack of fence or boulders.
Which is the house next door.
Right.
Yeah, both of them.
They're supposed to continue, so.
So what I would propose, if the commission is willing, is that the applicant pay to advertise a hearing for lot 62 and a hearing for lot 63 to amend the order of conditions for each of those lots to substitute sign in lieu of the boulder or fence.
I would accept that if we can get a signed affidavit from the landowner, or they can appear, attesting to the fact that they understand what the change is about, that they understand you're acting on their behalf, and that they understand that the signs will go in place of the boulders. The intent being that the signs would be noticed to the next homeowner.
Right, yeah.
So what I would recommend is we would get the affidavit signed first from the homeowners.
Do we have that one?
And then make contact us to advertise a public hearing.
That seems smart. That seems smart.
I hear it. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we did something similar with Jess last spring for Snake Hill Road when we made an adjustment on that corner, so
Right.
we can walk you through the process, Brian.
She one of
Read
the
the
four?
dictionary when it comes up.
She one of the four? 62 and 63? Since gave you a list, right? 64 outstanding, I think.
Yes, no, 62, we have received the signed affidavit on lot 62.
Yeah.
We have not yet received it on 63.
Now, a lot of the resistance is the notarized.
No,
That's why a lot of them don't.
Right, because then you got to figure out where to go.
Right.
But I want a separate affidavit that stated that they understood that this was a special condition, this is a special circumstance. So, because, obviously you're making a change to what was effectively a part of what their property project was supposed to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'll definitely come to those two.
Okay.
If they want the boulders, I'll put them in.
What I'd like to do is hold off on the enforcement order until that meeting, if anyone has any other thoughts on that.
So you just want to keep it in the file unsigned as sort of an open.
I just want to keep it there. We're working out a solution. Don't feel it's necessary to ratify it because the solution is the meeting, if that makes sense.
So, maybe I'll take a look at this. So what were the findings on this one?
I believe it's just the missing rock wall. Says it on the front.
Yeah.
But if, but the order of conditions is still open, correct?
Yeah, so it's not really an enforcement issue, it's really more a certificate issue, that you
Yeah,
can't issue a certificate until all the conditions have been met, and this condition just happens not to have been met yet.
I can agree with you.
Actually, don't say it that way. It actually part's just me.
Okay,
So
so then we could close.
I believe
the
what you're saying
enforcement.
is that we're right. We're just
Or do
simply
we
not
just
going to ratify.
rescind the enforcement?
Right. We're not going to ratify. Did you say this has been sent to DEP?
Yeah, I just did it all as a batch.
Okay.
Um,
So we would rescind this enforcement order.
okay.
And
But we're gonna still stick with the 2 affidavits thing?
right. So in other words, what's happening is that the applicant is saying, I understand that there are no rock walls there, and if we were all done and I was supposed to put the rock walls in, that would be a problem. However, as Takashi said, and as Steve suggested, why don't we just go forward with a change to the project? And that change to the project, what I'm asking for is an affidavit from the landowners, because the whole reason for the change to the project is not to do something that the landowner might misconstrue. And so the idea is to make sure the landowner understands that the boulders are going away, which I can't picture Rick not being able to sell. So the boulders are going away. All you have to do is sign this affidavit, and there's going to be signs in your backyard. Is that okay? Oh, and by the way, it's for an area of your lawn that you can enjoy looking at, but doesn't belong to you because it's part of the drainage easement, and if the town was to come and dig it up tomorrow, they get to. So, you want to write that down? That's all you have to say.
No, I remember these people specifically. They were the only one putting the drainage in before I even built the house. So they know. I'm sure we can get the affidavit
Okay.
on that.
I think we're all set. We'll wait to hear from you on this lot 53 Hemlock Drive.
And just an FYI, we're wrapping up the design of Woodland Way, and so we'll be submitting a notice of intent to you soon for the infrastructure of the reconfigured Woodland Way area.
How about that? I drove up to the water tank the last time. I did drive all the way up, and there's going to be some interesting views from up there for some of those houses. No?
There's no houses up there.
What? None?
They're all low.
No, in fact, I actually chose a lot, looking at the plan.
Sure.
So I want that lot, it's all the way back up to the tank, it's gonna be way up in that view, and by the way, go up there and take a view of the sunset. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's just spectacular, but anyway, the lots beside the entrance to the tank are like this. You can't build them.
Well, I saw that, but so nothing off that road?
No, there is way before the entrance to the water tank,
Sure.
and then way after it, but the lots right adjacent to the, close by that entrance up to they're like mountain goat. You know what I mean?
Must have been fun putting the water main in.
Oh, forget about it. Doing everything. But at least they have a great place to stargaze.
Yeah, and the superintendent requested to relocate the water main cross-country
Yeah.
down 2 lot lines, which was a slope like this,
Yeah.
rather than run it along the roadway up to the water tank.
Good place to watch the Perseids and the shooting stars. It really is. Brought all my grandkids up
That
there.
was last week, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for your
All right,
time.
thanks a
you
lot,
very much.
everybody. I apologize for,
No, I think we came to some appropriate action. All right.
good night.
Thank you. Good night. All right. So, some of us have to work tomorrow. Mostly, I'm just worried about Mr. Anuda because I know he'll stick it out. Have a good night.
make a liar.
You won't be the first.
Just on the, in terms of time urgency, CPC met last week
Okay.
on the Sefakis, and talked about the Sefakis property, which we walked. And so the question would be, does the Conservation Commission want to move forward with supporting purchase of that,
So that's where the question of what does supporting mean?
or sponsoring application, or something like that?
The expression I think you're using is doing the work. Is that what you're looking for?
Right. So, CPC wasn't able to, could not decide to authorize a first step, which would be an appraisal of property,
Right?
to see if anything was remotely ballpark, without knowing whether another entity was going to.
Why doesn't CPC go ahead and do it?
I don't think we can do that.
I don't think they can.
Yeah, we can't author the, or sponsor the applications for another money.
Park commission. Park.
Yeah, and I believe Jeff Thomas was gonna walk it. I don't know if anything's happened with that. So,
It would make much better park
yeah.
property than a conservation area. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just not.
So that could be one answer, which would be to prefer Parks and Recreation to take the lead on that.
I can't believe I'm entering into this 25-minute discussion.
No.
No, because there's no way out of this and you know it. But you guilted me into it, so let's just
Well,
go
only
through
because
it.
when we talked to Mr. Sefakis, he had said, he was willing to wait around for a couple months, but probably not that much longer. And
Well, we can just blame CPC, they didn't even vote on it.
yeah.
So then what, you just want to talk to Parks and, get an answer out of them first, and then maybe.
No, then we're no better than CPC.
Standards over here.
You writing that down?
No,
Okay, so let's step back. So these are maps from the town?
yeah.
Okay, so these are the official
These are-
maps from the town?
Right.
When did the town get real maps?
Although I have to say, if I look at them, my eyes cross, so it's not an area of.
Well, so this is the Sefakis house, okay? And so this is that same spot. So this is the parcel. This is a paper road.
Right.
This is a paper road. Although interestingly, based upon the way the lots are cut, so that's queer. So these lots don't go to the center. They're literally on the outside. This is property. This property is already owned by the town. This
Yeah, I think
property
Jeff
is
was
not
saying that.
owned by anybody except the town. The roads.
The road, the right of way.
If you look at these, these parcel definitions,
Oh, good.
this is 2739, right? It's 1.14 acres. It involves this space, and it certainly doesn't involve this space, and neither does that one, and neither does that one, and neither does that one.
Although I think the assessor said they tended to operate under the assumption that homeowners on either side own to the middle point of the road.
Well, I appreciate the assumption, except that that's what's drawn on this plan. This plan is drawn. That's interesting. Oh, poo. This is different than this one.
Well, you know how you could figure that out. You could ask for an assessor.
No, actually, you know what? No, it isn't. It's the same. It goes right down the middle.
Everyone's on the side of that one.
It goes right down the middle. So if you follow this,
Don't have that one.
that's clear. Okay. So, our whole discussion that day was, they owned this piece of land, they did not own this. This was that other house, right? This is the,
Yep.
used to be red, now it's white.
Yep.
Or tan, whatever it is. Okay, they didn't own that property. They owned this property. They didn't own those properties. They owned this, this, and we believe the town owns this, right? This 3-acre parcel?
Yeah, which looks like the town does.
That's your foot or your phone?
No, not me.
That might be me. Oh. Yeah, that's me. My chair.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Didn't know that.
Okay, so our question, all these cut off in the one place we wanted to see.
Yeah, none of them are actually.
The only one that
really
actually
complete.
covers the property that we wanted to see is this one, the magnifying glass one. Okay, so, according to this, a large portion of this area is owned by the Safakis family. Then it stops, and there's a wedge, which is labeled 41, and it's 32,160 square feet, which is very odd.
Which one are you looking at?
This one, it's the only one that covers the parcels we were concerned about.
And does this one help?
That's the same thing. So this here, so you've got Safakis, town, then you've got this wedge, this wedge right here, this undefined wedge, and then you've got the Hudlin property, which according to this is 37. So I cannot believe I'm resorting to this, but hold on. You ever do this?
Actually, I have hands
27.65. It's 5.75 acres.
The Hudlin property?
The Hudlin property is according to this, it says 5.7. I don't know if that's actually 5.76. 5.75 for 5.76 acres. So what we were talking about was this area here, which can really only be accessed from High Street, the end of William Street, or Cambridge Street, right? Okay. So I guess I'm torn. Do I what would end up happening to the Safakis house? Did he say that? Did he say he wanted to break that off?
Yeah, I think they
Didn't-
wanted
To cut it right here,
yeah, from
right?
where the old foundation
Yeah.
was.
And there were actually stakes in the ground, remember?
Yeah.
Except those stakes in the ground weren't at the old foundation. Those stakes in the ground were here. No, here. Because I found this one right across from the end of William Street, and there was one out here in the woods, remember? So if he was going to break it at that old foundation, he'd actually have to chop off part of 2726. So you'd end up with this, all of this. So I guess and of course, you remember this area in here was very steep.
It's like a big bowl.
Right. So you'd end up with so actually, in fact, if this is accurate, and it's a photograph, so you hope it is, if this is accurate, then this goes much less into here than we thought it did. This, one of these says that this is 3 acres?
Yeah.
It can't
I think the
be.
deed or whatever, there's some,
God dang it.
Did you see this one? This is the town parcel.
I've got that here. It says that it's,
Oops.
Does it go unfilled? Does it budget?
total land area, 3.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Mm.
So, doing that all night. What would make this interesting is if you could do something with this parcel down here.
Mhm.
And it's also interesting that you've got one plan. You've got one plan that shows this parcel and this area wide open, and then you've got this plan which shows Emily's Way coming up.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know who drew that. Where'd this come from?
Town assessor. It's one of the things he included.
That's very old, isn't it?
No, this one's new.
That's a new one?
Emily's Way
it's a
is
new one. It shows-
Emily's
Oh,
Way
that's
is
a
new.
Is that new?
This is old. This is the original.
Oh, that's the old one.
So this is where the old hospital is.
Yep.
Okay, in
Yep.
fact, actually, yeah. I don't know who the heck owns this. This slice here, there's no house on it. It doesn't do anybody any good. Couldn't build on it.
2740?
Yeah, 2741.
Yeah, it's weird, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Mhm.
Okay. So obviously there's 2 factors. The first factor is it a perfect pocket park? No. Is it beggars can't be choosers and it's a piece of land that showed up and you could do something with it? Yes. Is it enough land? That seems more to be a subjective than objective factor. If you could get a hold of the Hudlin property, then you could really do something back there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could figure out who owns 2741. Although I wouldn't be surprised to find it was the Hudlins.
But basically, if you want to end up potentially getting the Hudlin land, you've got to start with this because it's in front of us.
Mhm.
And if we pass on this, then, you know, even if we got the Hudlin piece, you wouldn't end up with anything of any size.
Well, yeah, the town already supposedly owns 3 acres, so, but it doesn't.
Town owns
I
this
mean,
one that looks like a racetrack.
Mm.
We own that. So we own this sitting by itself out in the woods. Then there's this piece of land between what we own and the Hudlins. There's this piece of land between what we own and High Street. And there's nothing between this piece of land and Cambridge. So right now, there's 3 acres out there in the woods that we own, period.
We being the town. not
The town, we
town.
being the town.
Right.
What we'd be adding to is some of this upland area. What's your thought on it, Jess?
Well, it seems in that neighborhood, there's a lot of interest of people in that. I guess my first thought would be maybe go ahead with an appraisal just to see how it's valued. And,
Why didn't CPC do that?
Any resident of the town can bring forward a proposal to CPC, so if the neighbors are keen to do it, they should do it.
yeah,
That would be my opinion.
well, I have a headache again. Yeah.
I guess so it's one of those things where it's in the middle of everything.
Right.
And it's in the middle of everything. So, Central Park is in the middle of everything, but it's expansive enough this is in the middle of everything, but
Not
Um,
expensive.
not very expansive at all.
Right.
In fact, if you take enough pictures,
So you're saying, Takshi, any neighborhood group could also bring this to CPC?
Isn't that right?
So,
And then could CPC spend money on their request
No, they would be requesting money from CPC
to do,
to whatever,
yeah,
including, an appraisal and all that.
all right, hold on. One of these had to have had it on it. Okay, this one did. Okay, so this is what doesn't make sense. This here says that this parcel is 1.14 acres and this parcel is 3 acres.
visually, it doesn't look like it.
No, absolutely it doesn't look like it, because it's not.
Right.
So the question is, how is that 3 acres and that's 1.14?
Well, and then actually, if you look at the 5.7 acres.
Yeah, exactly.
here,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not 3 acres.
well, I mean, you don't have the third dimension. There could be a very big hill, and so you add square footage as you go up and down. It's like if you flatten Vermont, you get Texas.
I'm going to use that tomorrow. But it doesn't change the fact that I don't think that's how they do it.
You like that, Doc?
That's good, yeah.
So if it's town,
Especially for this late at night, that's really good.
so if the town owns 3 acres, can the town basically resurvey?
Town owns a bed of lies. That's not 3 acres.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yes.
Why don't we have the town resurvey?
Well, I guess the first question to the town assessor is, please help me
Yeah,
figure
prove it.
out how this 1.14 space is actually bigger than this space that's labeled 3.
Right,
Yeah, there's just too
right,
too many questions.
right.
In my opinion, there's a question whether we as a conservation commission should even be interested in, devoting time and resources to pursue it. And then there's all these questions about what are we really talking about? None of that makes sense as it's laid out.
The only other way that 3 acres makes sense is if it incorporates all the road space around it and everything else. I mean, it literally doesn't line up.
So, shall I say conservation is not interested in moving forward in this as a whole, or what do people feel?
I think the answer is that conservation has too many questions to move forward with it the way it is.
Because
If
we wouldn't even know what we're appraising. When we go and have an appraiser, you have to
Yeah.
have,
Stakes and line.
you have to know what you're
Yeah.
asking them to appraise,
Yeah.
and we don't, I don't know, certainly.
ugh,
I mean, if we were interested in pursuing it, I think the first phone call rather than to an appraiser would be to a surveyor. But again, I'm not, I wouldn't necessarily be in favor of having this take a week.
no, honestly, I think the first question that has to come up is right to the town assessors. This is not 3 acres. Not by any scale I can come up with. Okay. I'll put it this way. I think that because of the just pure area, I think that the Conservation Commission would be interested if there was a way to incorporate whatever the parcel is behind it, 41, and the Hudland property 65. That would be worth, in my mind, town funding and town effort.
In a passive recreation hiking trail kind of scheme.
You could do something with that. You'd be somewhere around, well, if I use the town's math, 60, 70 acres. No, but, so you'd be 5, 6, 7, even if you just call that 2, which it isn't, you'd be somewhere around 8, 9 acres. If you could pile together 8 or 9 acres, you can actually make a walking trail through here, and you could preclude further development in the area. There's a whole bunch of good reasons to do that.
Mhm. None of them happen to be species related, but
No, they don't.
they're all
However,
good.
if you were to go to Quabbin Reservoir, lots of upland area is owned by MWRA for the protection of Quabbin Reservoir. This is upland of Fletcher's Pond.
There you go.
then all of a sudden it means something. But this ends up being like, 3 acres. That's not 3 acres. This ends up being like 3 acres that sits in the middle of everything and isn't really, it's just not viable for it's not viable for our goals. It might be something that we appreciate, but it isn't viable for our goals as a conservation commission. It might be viable to Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
another-
I have no vested interest in
Oh,
this myself.
please. You were the one who brought it up and made me stay 20 minutes late just as I proclaimed so that we could discuss it.
I brought it up because we met last week and if there was any interest, it would need to move forward rather quickly, but,
And another way to look at it is, I mean,
Pass that back down.
if we were to, say, pursue it and then want to apply for a land grant.
Keep this,
to
there's
help-
more to do.
Oh, there isn't.
Oh, there is. We got 1 or 2 conversations to have. They're faster than that one.
Fees?
All right, let's do it.
So the Secaucus thing is here, right?
Yep.
This Pan Am Railway settlement,
Yep.
basically the railroad running through town here is subject to the Clean Water Act with the EPA. They have a project, a rail yard here in town that they will be doing rehab, restoration, remediation. They're basically going to be doing a cultural education program with the people that work at the rail yard, so that they're better behaved when it comes to EPA regulations. And this is here basically because we've had discussions where the railroad isn't subject to any of the environmental laws,
They were very clear about it.
and that's not true. And we have
The
some
EPA gave them a
significant-
free pass to do whatever they wanted to. I was part of it.
Right, but that's just it. This would contradict that, and this is the settlement materials, and
What year? Is that recent?
this is like this week.
This week.
This is brand new. It's a whole thing. Here we go. Read this off.
Make them remove it?
do
No.
they need a response in the next 2 weeks?
Are they looking
No,
for a
there's no
response?
response. This is all informational.
Oh.
Now you know, just in case you ever have an issue with the railroad, this is the ground you could stand on to say you have to abide by clean water rules and regs.
Can you scan that in and send that to us by email so that I can gloat over it in my own personal time?
I could probably just forward you the whole thing, yeah.
That would be perfect.
All of us? CC.
Okay.
That was from like 2000 and... That was 2007? Something like that? 2006?
Hey, did you write to Bob Hartzell? Did you send that?
Right, that's also, like, that needs to happen. But that's about as far as we need to go with that. Like, come on. Whoosh, whoosh. What else? We've got the zoning bylaw. And this is the zoning bylaw that's from like 2010 that never got approved by town. And Jeremy's pushing this forward and he's gonna, get it adopted and the whole thing. But it's now open for comment again. And he's got a request January 26th to come to the ZBA meeting and to bring enough members, which would be 3, so that it would actually count as a Conservation Commission meeting.
That's a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do
Yeah.
it. I can't do it.
What's his purpose with having us there as a forum?
Just to add value and to make sure that this full consideration is given. And I've gone through it and I've sketched out some notes on the side, so theoretically if you don't want to, you don't have to read the whole thing, and you can see some potentially Concom ideas that might be involved, and that's what's going on with this.
There can't be any Concom involved ideas. What kind
Oh,
of
sure,
Concom?
like, they want to plant a certain kind of tree, and the terminology of non-native versus invasive versus like that kind of thing. Something specifically too that might be interesting to bring up is they talk about nuisances in here, and a visual nuisance, and the conversation of whether or not, say, you would make a point to say solar panels. You should explicitly say that they are not considered a visual nuisance, because that's something that has been on the radio a couple of times at other towns. People are using zoning bylaws to take down solar panels. things like that, you know. This is from 2010, the world's moved in 5 years. But anyway, there's things written on the side here, and if you want to go to the 26th, we can photocopy this, or we can give you a copy, or email it, or whatever. But it's that.
Send that too.
Okay, send. I think I forwarded you the ZBA email, but I don't know. Okay, this one. This is a big idea that there's a grant, 5-star in Urban Waters, 2016, a whole bunch of money. They want diverse local partnerships. They need to link directly to established watershed and conservation plans, so the pond plan. They want something that will advance existing local planning and development for resilient communities and or propose to foster new collaborations. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of good reasons that this would line up very well with the ponds plan and all of the implementation that the pond plan would recommend. This would be a good vehicle for getting it done. The big hiccup is that it needs to be a partnership of 5 entities, and I can only come up with 2.
What are the two?
Pace and the Merrimack. I've got an email.
So in other words, town boards don't count like DPW or?
They probably could, but that gets kind of, you know, it would make you less appealing if 3 of your 5 entities are essentially in the same entity. But if it came to that, sure. One idea though was Littleton, because they want to do some water work on
Spec pond.
Thank you. And they might be intrigued with water improvement stuff. And so that would add one more. I got an email.
River?
Sorry?
National River Watershed Association.
I didn't check in with them. I started with Merrimack. I got an email from Merrimack basically saying this would be great. We'd love to, and if we could tie our own needs into it, even better. And I don't see any reason why not. But that's one good start, and I haven't heard from Lori.
It seems like we could even do Harvard. Because didn't the plan show that we're all part of the same basin?
Yeah. Well, it's due in early February.
So no.
Well, yeah, so that'd be a bit of a stretch. So I could get Nashville probably. Merrimack would be great. If Lori would respond, that'd be good. But Lori sent a different email. Her mind is elsewhere. She has a meeting on January 21st in Town Hall with the Army. Next Devon's RAB meeting is scheduled for Thursday, January 21st. Update on Shepley Hill landfill groundwater cleanup remedy. So that's moving forward, and that's where her time and effort's been going, obviously. But if you guys want me to go after this, I need to kind of dive right in and go for it.
So number one, from now on, based on our experience, don't put less than 15 minutes to everything, and when it hits 9 o'clock, no more. If they have to wait till the next meeting, they wait till the next meeting. I have to be up in 5.5 hours, and this doesn't work.
Fair enough.
So, I don't have any idea what we're going to get out of this 5-star, lots of money. How does it work?
So the point of this would be the pond plan.
Okay.
And the things that the pond plan is suggesting that the town of Ayer does, this would be a first crack at trying to make what's in the pond plan happen.
To pay for it, you mean?
Yeah.
Except that we need 5 entities, and all of our pond work only affects our town.
Is that an annual grant?
It's
How do you mean? Will it come up again next year? Probably.
for this round of grants. So this round of grants.
The funding might shift,
$2.5
but
million.
this is a conglomeration of fundings. And it's like 6 or 7 pots of money with one application. So if 1 or 2 of the pots drop out, they'll still have the others, in all likelihood.
Is this just for Massachusetts?
No.
It's nationwide?
Yeah.
That seems slim.
I thought the pond plan was a nice tie-in, especially with the timing, since we just finished it and it's just coming together. And we could say, look at this, we did a great job, we put together this plan, help us put it together and blah, 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 blah. Is that, and then I think more or less we're good. Dog park is gonna come up next meeting, Mark Wetzel has a plan. You've got a property list that you need to sign.
For the town accountant?
Yep, for the,
I thought we agreed to this during our other meeting.
But you have
well,
to sign it.
yeah, you have to sign it. I have to go put it over in the mail room. It's for the auditors.
Not sure we didn't do that already, but all right.
Well, they think you didn't, so for the moment, that's how it stands. And then the dead last thing is that they don't laminate posters down the road. It's not a thing they do, they go about it differently. And it'll just be thicker paper.
Internet. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.